hardcore pornography.
Nope,
on
that's
stream.
not the way I want to do
No.
it. That's not what I want to put on Twitch.
Today.
It's like we get completely blocked from Twitch, and Alex is like, "What happened here?"
You know what?
Just this body painting stream instead of the podcast.
Oh
some,
God!
Some lady just showed her vagina on camera and got like a 3-day ban. That's it.
I mean, that's what it should. I mean,
Yeah.
that
but
shouldn't
it's
result
just
in
wild-
in
No, yeah.
significant action when people can
Just-
like harass each other on Twitch and not get in trouble.
It's just wildly inconsistent
Yeah.
with their like what is like a permanent ban. Like, what the fuck happened with Dr. Disrespect?
I don't know.
All those people talking like there was some real shit going down, and then no one said anything. Like,
I think he probably did something illegal, but not perhaps.
Maybe.
I think it was a financial thing. I still think it was
Maybe.
that. I don't think that he. I mean, I think he's a pretty shitty person, but
Yeah.
I don't think it was like he like was abusing his spouse or something. I think it was more just like he did something stupid.
did they even like? Because there was it who saw who was it? Was it Justin Wall? No. Who? There was some fighting game guy. Fatality. I don't remember. It was like basically like verbally abusing his spouse on stream, like in the background or something.
I got unfortunate news for you. That's just
Yeah.
Twitch.
Yeah,
That
but
kind of
like
shit happens all the time.
they were like a prominent fighting game
Yeah,
community
yeah.
member, and I think they got banned,
Oh, good.
but I don't remember.
Oh, Twitch. I'm gonna. Do we want to time.is?
Yeah.
Tis in the shiz.
Okay.
Tis.shiz.
His.shiz might be available. We could probably redirect that.
I don't
And we
think
just
dot
redirected
shiz
to
is a top
time.is.
level.
Sam, you missed when Andre asked if we were gonna put our shiz in the chiz.
Not sure about that.
Which I think meant. Well, I know meant
I don't know if you
games in the
missed it.
document,
Yep.
which I did for you already. So
I didn't do it.
that's
Well,
fine. You don't have to.
I've got East 9.
Yes, that's what I put down
There's-
for you.
There's a
Thank
lot of
you.
news this week. So much.
We don't have to talk about all of it.
I mean, a lot of it's like related, kind of. So
This Call of Duty thing, we can touch on it. I think it's starting to get like a lot of other things where it's like,
mhm.
yes, ha ha ha, it's very funny. It's like, yes, ha ha ha, Cyberpunk is broken still. I'm just like,
It's
Is it
Call of Duty is
news?
so damn big.
no, I know it is. It's ridiculous.
They had to put out a statement going, "Hey, this isn't gonna fit on your hard drives anymore." Which, like, you don't, because those games are like separate installs, right? Like they've got like the single player, the zombies, the
So,
multiplayer.
Warzone is just modern. Like Modern
Okay.
Warfare doesn't exist anymore.
What?
Yeah,
Oh,
you can't,
what?
at least on PC, there is no longer a Modern Warfare option in the menus or in like the Blizzard launcher. It's just Warzone, and then it says in tiny text under the logo Modern Warfare when you click on Warzone. So if you want to play the Modern Warfare single player, you have to install Warzone. It's
Huh.
very ridiculous.
Okay.
But I mean, it's also honest. At this point, nobody's going to play the Modern
Yeah.
Warfare single player. So,
But they will play the multiplayer.
oh, does Todd Howard have some updates on the Skyrim board game for us?
No.
Can we get him on the show? Okay, I'm hitting record.
I'm hitting record.
I'm also hitting record.
Alex, leave the baby in. All right.
Let's go on the minute.
Okay.
Huh?
Can somebody else keep an eye on the chat? Or we can just say we're not looking at the chat. I would, but my screen is a mess right now.
I can pull it up, but I'm always like bouncing between different. But I've got multiple monitors here, so I can
There
make
you
it
go.
work.
You know what I need is that Acer, the laptop, or whoever it was who had the fold
With
out
the-
screens. I
The
just
one
need
that-
those. I need those, but around my
the
desktop
the
screen.
7 screens.
Yeah. That way
I
I
thought
can
you just meant like
fold
the
it down.
ZenBook with the fold up like the OLED on the above the keyboard, so it's got a normal screen and then above
Actually,
the keyboard
and
there's
a
another
small-
screen
a
that's
s-
just like 4 by like 12.
A small OLED, a tablet size, because that's what I end up doing usually. Is I set my iPad up next to my screen if I
Mhm.
want to like watch something kind of mindless while I'm doing games or whatever.
Mhm. God, that laptop.
That
Am I
laptop
the
is
asshole for telling my GF when she can shower. God, what the fuck?
what?
Huh?
This is am I the asshole?
Oh, I thought you were talking about our Twitch
No.
chat, and I was like, if someone asks
No.
that in our Twitch chat, you should ban them.
I open the chat things. I'll probably be talking the least, so I can keep an eye on it.
Cool.
Okay, I've got chat open too, so I've got okay.
What?
I don't know. I don't got time to read that right now.
Well, I'm reading it. Even though we're starting the podcast so shortly, probably should not.
Quick, change your game to that Reddit post.
And then we'll break it down live on the show. All right. Hello, and welcome to episode 161 of the Gaming Fix podcast on February 27th, 2021. I am your host, Andre Cole, aka your partner's favorite novelty Twitter account. I'm joined today by Pat.
I mean, it's the boring answer, but it's probably drill.
Okay, yeah, that's fair. Gonna have to once he starts
Oh.
super tweeting, you're gonna have to go like the super follows. You're gonna have to go to the Pirate Bay to get the drill tweets.
I'll pay drill. It's fine. Not particularly. It's definitely not really for the faint of heart. But Lunch Enjoyer is also a prime Twitch follow.
Okay, Twitch or Twitter?
Sorry, Twitter. I don't know why I said Twitch.
Okay, yeah. Well, we're live on Twitch right now,
and we're doing it my way today.
Twitch.tv/Gaming Fix. Also joining us, Allison.
Anybody else follow Gators Daily? Because
Gators Daily's good. Gators Daily's good.
Gators Daily is good, and it suddenly got like shown on last week tonight, which was extremely weird because I was watching that with my parents, and I was like, "Whoa, it's like," and it was kind of like a joke, and I was like, "That's the Twitter I follow." So.
The one Twitter I follow.
No, I also need to give a shout out to Mondo Mascots, who talks about Japanese mascots, because it is probably that is my definite favorite.
That almost
Twitter.
doesn't feel like a novelty at that point, because that's like actually that's interesting
See,
information.
that's the thing. Like we say like novelty. I don't know, but I mean these mascots are sure novel.
That's true.
Because there's a lot of them where you're like, wait a minute, what are you doing here?
It's more on Instagram, but Cheetan. Speaking of,
Cheetan
Japanese
is like,
mascots,
oh,
just kicking the shit out of some like metal boxes and falling on their face. And last but not least, this week, Sam.
Hi. I didn't think of anything to say that was funny. I was too distracted by Pat ruining our stream with Kingdom
I'm
Hearts.
streaming
bullshit.
the correct game that we should be having on as the
Some editorializing here.
finally some good fucking games.
As you've noted, as
This
you might
Mario
have noticed,
Party bullshit.
Hey, as you may have noticed, Alex isn't here, so when Alex isn't here,
Then
things
we
get
could
a
put
little
good games on
chaos.
the stream.
All right, so this week I played Umineko When They Cry.
Ugh.
The entire
Me
thing.
too. Okay,
yeah,
spoiler
and-
cast. Let's
yeah,
go.
spoiler cast time. 'Cause that is quite the release from Pat. He is just so excited about
Yeah, I'm
Umineko.
thrilled.
you can just hear.
Let
the
me just switch.
excitement.
Let me
It's
switch the stream over to my PlayStation so I can just play Kingdom Hearts again while we do this podcast.
This is like when I was on Super GG Radio when their Alex was out, and we just did a whole fake segment about how Joel had played Undertale when he hadn't actually yet, and so he just made up shit about Undertale. That was probably only funny to us when we were hosting, and no one who listened, because they're just like, "What are they talking about? That's not Undertale." But yeah. I'm gonna toss this out at the beginning this week. Hey, if you've got questions, you probably don't make it to the end of the podcast because who listens to a 3-hour podcast? But if you've got questions, comments, ideas for our podcast, send an email to gaming@fix.space. And yeah, that would be appreciated. We'll read your emails on the show if you send them. So
If you've got questions, we've got Samsers.
We'll do a special podcast. If we get 100 questions, we'll do a special podcast called Samsters. No one else has done anything like this before.
Questions.
in which like nobody sends one in because they're like, I don't know if we can open up the floodgates for Samsters.
that's the special Patreon tier. If you find our secret Patreon, you'll unlock Samsters.
And that's actually just a podcast where I talk to the patron and answer all the questions they have.
On a private
Every
Zoom
single
call
one.
Incorrectly.
over a delicious glass of wine.
Even if you're doing a test from home for your college education, Sam will answer it. It doesn't guarantee
Get
correctness,
Get
but
Sam to take your tests. That'll go well.
academic dishonesty. But that's the.
Is there
that's
any
the Fix
other
brand?
what
have a
is academic
first-class
honesty?
degree.
Come on.
I mean,
That's the
like
best degree you can get.
like in academia, like 90% of writing like papers outside of like science is just like looking at what other people said and then saying it slightly differently. Like that's just
Exactly. No
Yeah,
new ideas,
I mean,
right?
You're not wrong.
every idea that will ever be thought has already been thought, and we're just remixing it. Generation remix, baby.
That's
Well, you say that, but the Snyder Cut isn't out for a few weeks, so
Oh, God.
we can't
That's just a
guarantee
remix.
new
That's just a
ideas.
remix.
the last fresh idea, and then
Yeah.
we'll all weep.
That's no, it's not a fresh idea. It's just a remix
Well,
of
but
another existing
Did
movie.
you see that the length of this?
It's a demix. Yeah, it's just 4 hours.
But
4
it's-
hours, 1 minute, like 38 seconds.
And it's also like 4 hours
90 minutes too short.
broken into 4 TV episodes.
No,
Isn't
they
it?
changed that. They're just going to release it as a 4-hour
thank God.
stream.
That's so much more stupid to just make it a 4-hour long single video file. Okay.
Can't wait to do our
I'm
podcast
so-
review of it.
I'm so glad that
I-
I'm not going to be on that episode.
I am
because
so
I do
excited for
not
this
wanna
thing.
Watch that.
I am
Oh, God.
so excited for this thing. I'm going to I got to play like a drinking game or something.
Sounds like good. You should watch the Joss Whedon, the Justice League first.
Uh,
Eh.
I
need to
feel like
know
it's
what you're missing.
funnier. I think it's funnier if I come into a comic book fix episode going like, "Wait, that wasn't in it." But we'll see. We'll see how I plan this.
That's. I still haven't seen Justice League, so I don't know.
Sorry, Justice League. You need to make sure that you pronounce it correctly so that everyone knows which movie you're referring to.
Yeah.
I'm referring to Warner Brothers Justice League,
Anyway,
starring the Batman,
The Witcher.
that's
and Witcher, and the Israeli Defense Force.
God, let's just
Anyways,
Oh,
video games, huh?
man. I guess there's the-
Speaking of Defense Forces, Outriders.
yeah, they're kind of a defense.
People with guns.
They are people with guns. Yeah,
They're like an offense force.
they are colonizing as well a
Yeah.
Oh,
land that is
Mhm.
not theirs.
See? Yeah.
problematic, I
Mhm.
guess.
Yeah. That's one of the things that I like about Outriders is that there are people.
That it's colonizing.
No.
Mm,
That
okay.
that people are aware that people are aware that it's not necessarily a good thing.
I was gonna say it's like Pat's problematic now,
No,
guys.
it's very self-aware of. So the premise of Outriders is that Earth like died, and
In the
because of climate
21st
change,
century.
yeah, basically like I don't know.
In the next, it basically the setup is by the end of this century,
Yeah.
the Earth will be unlivable.
Yeah, because of climate change, and so they build 2 spaceships that can each hold like a few million people or something like that, and shoot them off into space to go to a planet that they like, to find a planet basically that humans can live on. And one of them gets blown up in like presumably like a terrorist attack, although can you call people terrorists who are like gonna suffocate on a wasteland planet trying to escape? But then
You
there's
just say attack.
yeah, exactly. Then there's one ship left, and that one ship is the one that the cast of characters is on, and it makes, actually I don't know if the first ship necessarily exploded. I can't remember.
It did not like.
It didn't make it
So
off
I
Earth,
think
didn't it?
I think if
well, they weren't on Earth. It was they were built in space.
right.
So
You're right, yeah.
I think the way they implied is that it just they just never found it, and I think it could definitely be like
maybe.
my point is that it could
The
be content,
expansion.
yeah, like a story later on where it comes back. Anyway, you go to this planet, they get to this planet Enoch, everyone's been in cryosleep. So for everybody else, it feels like 80 years of drifting through space to find this planet was like a few days. And then they land, and it's very much like a kind of Mass Effect, like mixed with space western aesthetic, where you're on this beautiful, untouched, verdant planet. And some of the characters have dialogue about like, maybe we're going to fuck this planet up too. And is it really cool that we just like slaughtered a bunch of people that were trying to get on the ship to escape, and then came here, and now we're colonizing this one too. So
like, are we gonna do we're gonna make this unlivable too? Like, it's gonna be the same shit.
which
so,
is
yeah.
It's a little better than like, not that, I mean, I like Monster Hunter World, but like one of the things that was like dissonant for me when playing Monster Hunter World is it felt like everyone was just like, well, yeah, we're colonizing the new land and killing all the monsters here. Of course, that's what we would do. And I the whole time I was like, there's people who live here. But in Outriders, there's at least a little bit of maybe what we're doing is wrong. But then shit also hits the fan in very hard, and there's a pretty massive tonal shift about 30 to 40 minutes in, and then you get Diablostany, Diviablostany, because it's a lot like the Division too.
Oh,
It does feel a lot more like the Division than like any other game I've played.
Yeah, gameplay wise, I would say it's most comparable to the Division, more so than Destiny. It doesn't have like in mostly in the ways that I think the shooting in the Division isn't great, and I don't think the shooting is great here either. But I think the weapons here are at least more interesting.
mm-hmm. And like the abilities and stuff are more interesting than the Division too.
Oh, yeah.
I would say.
Yes, I agree.
The Division as a series, not the Division 2 specifically.
Yeah.
I played the Pyromancer like just a little bit. Like I played up through like kind of the end of the first like main mission, like past the tutorial. Kind of. It's still the tutorial, but
you played like almost half of what's in the demo.
Mm-hmm.
I would say.
Okay. And basically I got to the point where the tone, like after the tonal shift happens, and kind of got my powers and stuff like that. And like, so there are 4 classes, right? 4 classes.
Yep. Technomancer, Pyromancer, Devastator, and Trickster. Yeah.
So I picked Pyromancer, and they're all kind of set up to do different like combat like distances. Like you've got close range, like the Trickster and the Devastator, mid-range with the Pyromancer, and then long range with the Technomancer. And so what the Pyromancer does is that just like throws out like a wall of fire that kind of goes in a line and will light people on fire. And if you kill people who are on fire, then you get your health back.
Mm-hmm.
I also get like a kind of like a lasso, like a pull move. Like that was the second thing I unlocked, was like, oh, I'm going to hit this person and pull them towards me, and then I can do more damage to them.
Your melee is unique too, kind of like in
Yeah,
Destiny.
yeah. It like kind of shoots out like a little fireball.
Yeah.
A little bit of
I
distance on
played.
it.
Yeah, I went with the Devastator because I was like, oh, survivability seems like something that I want, and I've got like a wave of Earth destruction, kind of like can't remember the name of that X-Men character.
Gambit.
The druid guy, Richter.
Yeah. So kind of like
I'm
Richter,
sure
who,
everyone's favorite X-Man, Richter. Everyone listening, I'm sure, very familiar with
They're
Apocalypse's
screaming at their
prodigy,
podcasts.
Richter.
Some
so-
comic podcast host.
So I've got like Earth powers, but I can also armor up, which I thought was going to be really useful and good, but it only lasts like 8 seconds. It feels like it doesn't last long enough to close the gap, because like my character heals by killing or damaging people who are close, and like optimal assault rifle range is too far, so you have to get right up in close, and then but the armor doesn't last long enough, and you're really unsurvivable outside of cover. So I would imagine that this class gets a lot better with skill points and like changes later in the game. I'm still intending on playing the full version and trying out a couple more classes, but specifically the abilities were a bit disappointing. There is a close the gap move that I've just unlocked where you do like a big leap.
I would suspect that there's a little more. I don't know exactly how the armor drops work. If I know there's some stuff that's class specific and some stuff that isn't. So I don't know if the armor is class specific, but I would assume that the ramp. I think there is.
Doesn't seem like.
Yeah, I wonder if maybe there is class specific armor if you keep like in the full game that you can get, and if that would make you more survivable.
I mean, there must be like stuff with like specific perks for certain classes, and they talk about
on gear. Yeah, that's what I'm getting at. Yeah,
they talk about this interview about like there being specific like class specific gear. So
yeah. So I'm sure that it feels a little more survivable in the full game. But I think the biggest thing about survivability in this game, and really what sets it apart from games like The Division, and the reason why I think it's going to be hard to help people understand like how to find the fun in it, is you really have to be super aggressive. And it's not so much that like you get you're survivable because you have a lot of like health or damage reduction. It's more just because you are healing constantly and developing a shield. I assume the Devastator gets a shield when you kill people at close range.
No,
that's very strange because the Trickster does. So it's very strange to me because I wonder if that means the Trickster is actually the tank class. Because
I think the Trickster is just way less survivable. It feels like
I'll tell you, I died 2 times in the entirety of the demo.
I only died once,
okay.
But I felt like I was I felt very damageable.
I
if that
felt
makes sense.
I felt like it was kind of, I was either in a state of, so the Trickster has like a blade attack for your first ability, and then you have like a time bubble for your second ability, which slows everyone around you. And the time bubble is awesome looking because everybody moves slow. And then on top of that, when people shoot into the time bubble, the bullets hit the time bubble and then they slow down and they start moving like really slowly, and they can still hit you, but you can move around them very easily because they're moving very slow. It's really cool. And then you also get a teleport where you can teleport behind people. And so you can do things like hit your teleport to teleport behind like 5 enemies, time bubble so they're all slowed, and then hit your one and it does a big wide slash with your blade and kill all 5 of them in a single like 1, 2, 3 combo. And you get a shield whenever you kill someone at close range, as well as health back. And so I don't know, I felt like I was just like plowing through enemies. I never felt like, the only times I died were once I died when I was trying to change options during a fight because the game doesn't pause when you go into the menus, and I was like, it's fine, I'm behind cover, they're not going to kill me, and they did. And then the second time was on like the final boss of the DLC, because I just got hit by their ultimate ability, and that did a shitload of damage. But otherwise, I was just like, just Swiss cheesing through enemies, and it felt fun. It felt really powerful. So I don't know if that's like a class thing or what, but
no idea. So Pat, you were playing on PC.
Yep.
Right. And how was performance there?
It's good. It defaulted to ultra settings, and I saw some dips down into like the 40s. I have like a 4-year-old CPU and a couple-year-old graphics card, so I'm not working with like state-of-the-art hardware, but I have a pretty decent computer. It would stay around 60 in like the towns and stuff, but then drop into the 40s when combat got hectic. So I dropped it down to high, and then it's been solid at like 60 FPS. And the full game has DLSS, so I'm sure that I'll be able to run it at ultra with DLSS on, and it'll look great. The only thing that sucks that they have already addressed and said is not going to be the case in the full game, and that they might patch the demo with, is the cutscenes and dialogue is all locked to 30 frames per second, which looks awful because you go from 60 frames per second to like chunky 30 frames, and it's like 30 frames per second, but it reports 30 frames because I use the Steam FPS counter, but it looks really choppy and bad in the dialogue and the cutscenes. But I don't know. I also have it on an SSD, so I haven't really noticed much load time stuff. Some people are complaining that the loads are really bad, but I haven't had that problem. But otherwise, yeah, I think mouse and keyboard is probably the way to play that game. Frankly, the game that it looks like Division because of the cover stuff, but the game that it actually plays like to me is Warframe, because of the way that you're like, at least as a trickster, I'm constantly moving very fast and hitting abilities all the time, and like really there's a lot of momentum, and there's just a lot of like moving around at high speed, which not quite as fast as Warframe, but sort of like that. It just doesn't have the same kind of melee stuff. So, but I also I've been using a shotgun pretty consistently because I'm trying to fight at close range, and when you time bubble and shotgun 3 people in front of you, they all like jib and explode in slow motion, and their like limbs and head fly off and float there, and it's pretty impressive looking.
All right.
Yeah, it's cool. I'm excited about the game. I will say the one thing that the demo doesn't show you that I think some people were complaining about that I saw is there is like a larger area where you drive around at some point, because if you pre-order it, you get like a skin pack, and one of the skins is for a truck. So they you don't do that in the demo at all, but I suspect it's probably a very Borderlands-esque like larger area you're driving around. I don't know. It seems fun. I like it. I'm gonna play it when it comes out in full. But I think that demo is like super indicative of what it is, and I think it's been kind of funny to watch reactions because there's been people who really, really want it. And I'm not even talking about any conversations you and I have had, Sam, but there's people who really, really wanted it to be a specific thing, and it's not that thing. And the reactions people are having about it not being that thing are like kind of funny because they're just like, this game's gonna fail because it's not I wanted it to be more like the Division, and it's not.
We'll talk more about that later. That kind of reaction. I played on PS5. Sam, you did the same. It ran fine. Maybe there were a few times I was like, "Oh, the frame rate's like a little like iffy," but like it was fine. But never like dipped below 30 for sure. I think it was probably close to 60 most of the time.
They've targeted 4K 60 for PS5, sorry, and 4K 30 for last gen, which is actually pretty impressive.
Wow, probably upscaled, but yeah.
It doesn't have any like super crazy visual stuff. Like
yeah,
it looks fine. I mean, I
There's
think
some
it looks nice.
looking stuff.
Yeah, but I wasn't looking at it like, wow, this is amazing. I think it has some fairly strong art design at times, and I think some of the stuff they tease in the videos of like, it seems like you fight a lot more like creatures and stuff as the game progresses. Some of the designs for those are really cool. There's like just a dragon in one of the little teaser trailer things, which is like, that's awesome. Yes, I will fight a dragon with my weird like energy shotgun.
I actually got Mass Effect vibes from the combat a little bit.
Sure.
Like,
yeah, I could see that.
Like the the cover shooting,
the abilities. Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Yes.
And if you had like 3 people with you, then you've got your crew and your comboing abilities and stuff like that. It'd be interesting.
Yep, I think so.
But as it stands, I would mostly play this solo. I don't think I'm going to pick it up.
I'm gonna give it a shot, like the full game, but I really want to play it multiplayer. Like I really want to try it with other people, because I feel like that will mitigate the survivability stuff that I've been feeling. Because I'm the only person that's getting shot, and the enemies always seem to know where I am, even if I like am diving between cover and stuff, and like moving around. So
they did something that isn't as great for like playing with your friends, but also is good because it avoids the like mushy math that a lot of games have, where there isn't really scaling. There's scaling for number of players. Like the enemies get like, I believe they get harder if you have more players. However, you don't like, if I join Sam's game and I'm level 30 and I have like level 35 gear and Sam is level 10 and playing on a world difficulty, they have this world tier difficulty system, and playing on like world tier difficulty 6, it doesn't scale me down at all. So I come into Sam's game and I'm just like a fucking wrecking ball. And vice versa. Fun. You can pull somebody else up to your level and then it'll be hard for them. So I think it's smart because it's great if you can just join with your friends and everybody's stuff scales appropriately. But then you start to run into the question of like, why even have gear score numbers at all if you're doing it that way? So the fact that it really does scale, I think, is kind of cool. Or doesn't scale. And like it really is just like you get very strong and can go into other people's games and wreck shop is fun. Yeah. And also would mean that you could potentially, Sam, have fun playing with someone who's higher level or being the higher level person going into someone who's lower levels game if what you want is that kind of crazy power fantasy. So
I like the crossplay stuff is just like a code. Yep. Like you go into the menu and you.
We should do that.
It's basically friend codes.
Yeah, we should totally do that and try out the crossplay and play together. I'm planning on playing all the classes. Basically, I'm telling myself I'm into it and I want to pick it up and I'm excited for it, but I'm going to play through the demo with each class. And if by the time I do that, I'm bored, then that might be a sign that maybe I won't want to do that for a full game length, because it's mostly going to be fighting similar enemies, I think. I'm sure there's cool creatures in there too, but you're going to fight a lot of dudes with guns like in the demo. So, Yep.
Well, that's Outriders, out April 30th, 1st?
April 1st. And the demo will be available apparently.
What if this demo is just a big joke?
Yeah, I know. I had
like, aha, gotcha. The game's complete. It's a dating sim.
Game
of the year. Visual novel.
There's some dope characters. The Shira, the woman who she's cool. She's like a lady solid snake, like Lady Old Snake kind of in her demeanor.
She's got an eye patch.
She's got an eye patch and like a kind of like a cape thing going on, a half cape. And there's
Peter Stormare, obviously pretty good.
Jakob's cool. He's dateable for sure.
He's clearly Peter Stormare, right? We'll recognize that.
You're on an alien planet. There's only so many people. They all better be dateable.
There's a shopkeeper lady that is there's some sparks there already. Even when you do her quest, like they're definitely like pretty flirtatious anyway. So there's room for that. So yeah, there's Seth, that altered guy who thinks he's a god. He's, I mean, kind of a hot mess, but dateable.
You can't say it's
You
a
can
hot
fix
mess
him.
without it being hot.
Exactly. Yeah. Yes.
All right. Well, that's Outriders out in just over a month. Check out the demo. The demo will be out in perpetuity, and all your data will like transfer over. So if you play and you're like, oh yeah, I want to play this, you won't have to replay all that stuff in the full release.
It's also funny, they've said up and down it's not a beta, but they have been taking feedback from the demo and doing like minor bug fixing and stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean,
so it's kind of a beta.
Yeah, there's only so much like testing that QA can do, and like they've had tons of like server issues just like matching demand.
Yeah,
but it seems like it's built, it's what they wanted to make, it seems like, and it's functioning as intended when it works. So just doesn't seem like the thing for me, but that's okay. I'll just keep playing Dark Souls games.
So will I.
Yeah.
I'm so close. So close.
In the meantime, when you're not playing Dark Souls or Outriders, I hear you've been playing something else. You've been chasing something.
Yeah. I played this week one of the most indie experiences I've played. A game called Titan Chaser, which is out of early access this week. It is $5, so definitely like priced to be a couple hours long. And it is the team is like, I have all the streaming stuff up, so I don't have it pulled up, but basically it's one person. There's a voice actress that is I think pretty good, who did the VO for the game. And then there's there's a musician that did like compose the music for the game, but pretty much all of the design and development was done by one person, I think. And it's very clear that that's the case. They've talked on, I was looking at some posts on the Steam forums where they were talking, and pretty much everything in the game is a like pre-made Unity asset that they found. So it's like one person was like talking about how the hotel that you stay in is also used in like a very light erotic visual novel or something. And so they were like, I don't know where I recognize that hotel from somewhere, and then I realized where it was from. And the developer was like, that's very funny. But the premise of the game is it's set in Eastern Europe in kind of like what looks like the 80s, really. And things are weird. Everyone's in a lockdown and can't leave their homes.
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah. But they can't.
That's something we don't know about.
They can't exit their homes, and they can't respond to any like external noises or behavior outside. And it is because, presumably anyway, because there are these giant monsters that just are kind of showing up and causing problems. But instead of like violently destroying things, they're just kind of like maybe they're giant humanoid monsters that are walking around and just stomping around can cause earthquakes, or
they're just vibing.
Yeah, to some extent they are kind of just vibing. And so your job is to be a Titan Chaser, which is someone who like peacefully, there's no combat in this game. You're kind of finding the way to chase the Titans off and get them to move away from the population centers. And you do that with your car, which has a spotlight on it, and then some environmental stuff. And it's got 4 levels with 4 different kind of monsters. And again, visually, this is nothing to write home about. It's got a really good mood from the atmosphere, like from the fog and stuff, and the lighting. But it's really simple geometry. The monsters like look kind of, if you could see the monsters in full light and not as shapes in the fog, they would look pretty silly, I think. But
yeah, just looking at images of this though, a lot of it is probably like silhouette and the lighting and the fog, which is like you said, like a pretty dang cool setting.
Yeah, it's very much not a horror game. Like there's no jump scares, there's nothing in it that's particularly scary, but it definitely has the kind of vibe of like, well, I'm driving around in the dark and the fog and it's spooky, even though it's not. I know there's not, and you know, you're looking for a big huge monster, so to some extent it's like, oh, when am I gonna see it? So yeah, I don't know. I enjoyed it. I think it's cool. I don't think it's I think if you have to have kind of a lot of patience for it being very much a like passion project from one person. But it's definitely interesting. And I would give it a look if you kind of like walking simulators too, because nothing about it is particularly like challenging or puzzly. Really, they give you the instructions for how to deal with the monsters each time, and it's unique. I mean, you have to use your tools in different ways, but it's not particularly complex either. But it's interesting. The story ends in a way that's like, the developer claims that it means something, but it is really weird and definitely thought-provoking, but maybe thought-provoking because I'm like, what the fuck happened?
I mean, it literally provoked some thoughts from you.
Yeah. So I don't know.
You were the real monster all along.
If you have a couple hours, and one thing that's cool about it is the music is pretty good. And they frame the music as it's a cassette that you put in your car. And so you actually like have to turn on the radio in the car to listen to the music, and it's
Can
like,
I get stuck?
no, that would have been
like
good.
one song.
That would have been
over and
good.
over.
But
That's
you
not how it works, I guess, but...
you get kind of like you get kind of lo-fi electronic music, ambient stuff, and then every other track though is like an old radio play that's in the public domain from like a long time. I mean, some of them like they sound like from like the 20s and 30s, and so that's kind of entertaining because like, and you can skip tracks easily. So, but it's kind of fun because you'll be chasing these monsters around, listening to people do like a horror radio play from 1922 or whatever, and it's kind of cool. It definitely has a cool vibe. The music though, I guess what would be considered the main theme, because it plays over the credits, is the Stranger Things theme. Like, it's remixed slightly, gently remixed, but it came out and I was like, that's definitely just the Stranger Things theme.
You sure it's not just that the Stranger's theme is generic enough, like
I'm positive because I listened
okay.
to the Stranger Things theme a lot, and particularly the remix someone did where they put Childish Gambino over the Stranger Things theme.
I need to go find that.
That's very good. But it's just the music in Titan Chaser is definitely and then it's remixed a little bit, but Netflix. I'm assuming no one from Netflix listens to our podcast, and I hope they don't, because this person, you could
Yahoo Anime rules.
Yes, exactly. And I mean, I like the music for Stranger Things, so it's fine. But
it's just one of those like, I don't know if this should be here.
Yes, and I don't know that I would say it's a deeply Stranger Things vibe. Like, I'm not like, oh, if you like Stranger Things, you got to play this game. It definitely has some. It's kind of in the 80s, and there's giant monsters and stuff. But yeah, I don't know. It's interesting though. If you have a couple hours free and you're bored and you want to try something new and you have some patience for very lo-fi games, it's worth a look. I think if you liked Umurangi Generation, not so much because it's anywhere near as good, or and the aesthetic in Umurangi's like there's intent there, but if you like the like kind of like just chilling out and exploring an area, then that's kind of what this game does too. So
this looks neat. I do want to check it out.
Yeah, and I like the concept a whole lot.
It has some fun navigational challenges too, like because you all you have is a compass and a map with the landmarks on it. You don't see yourself on it, so you have to find stuff by the directions they give you. It'll be like, oh, this Titan's at Whispering Plains, and then you have to like look where Whispering Plains is, look where you are, and drive there. So that part's fun.
Well, that's Titan Chaser on Steam. Next up, who we got? Who we got here? Sam. We never know when you're gonna have to leave us, so please, please, 9 enlighten us.
Play this game so bad.
Enlighten us. This is great segue material right here.
So East 9 Monstrum Nox is the full name of the game. It's
not the Lacrimosa of Dalmisa or whatever.
Lacrimosa of Dana, which is the previous.
Or the Oath in Felghana. I'm currently playing Memories of Celceta.
They actually reference Celceta a few times.
Celceta,
in
that is how
Monstrum Nox, which is cool.
They better.
Rip to the Celceta on the Taco Bell value menu.
Cat's not playing this entire series for nothing.
Well,
I mean, imagine if you played Trails of Cold Steel 4 and they just didn't talk about like any of the previous games.
Well, the Ys games are much less tied together than the Trails games.
Yeah. So, essentially, in the Ys games, you play an adventurer called Adol Kristin. He has signature red hair, and his whole thing is that he's trying to go somewhere. They don't really tell you where or where he's from.
He doesn't know
he's trying to get somewhere.
He doesn't know where he's going.
And he can't get on a boat without it wrecking. He can't, basically nothing goes right for Adol. And he is traveling through a city called Balduq, which has a giant prison. And at the gates of Balduq, as he's going in, someone's like, "Hey, I think you're a criminal," and he's arrested immediately on the spot. And he's then taken to the giant mega prison. And in the mega prison, as he's leaving, he basically escapes. And as he's leaving, he meets this woman, and she shoots him. And this woman who has a prosthetic arm and leg that are glowing with green magic energy. She's extremely cool.
That's very evil. Green magic energy, that's evil.
She's absolutely one of the coolest designs in the game, and all the Monstrum have extremely cool character designs. So, Adol becomes the Crimson King, which is he becomes
a seminal progressive rock outfit.
Yeah. He becomes a monstrum, which is basically it gives him the ability to turn from Adol into the Crimson King, and the Crimson King has powers. So he's super strong, super fast, and he also has the ability to zip line around the world to points. So you press R2 and Adol will basically instant teleport to a vantage point, which is really cool for some of the stealthy sections, and it's a great way to get around the town because the Crimson King has a double jump.
Why wouldn't you just stay as the Crimson King?
Because the Monstrum are all wanted. They don't explain why, but I think that basically it's because the villains who are kind of in charge of the town. It's basically the whole thing is a anti-authority, fuck the police sort of game.
How do they say fuck the police in it?
They do insta buy. I'm gonna buy it now.
There are no police, although I would absolutely expect multiple of the characters to have an "all guards are bastards" t-shirt. So yeah, there's basically it's on the cover. There's a load of different Monstrum. You meet them all fairly quickly, and each Monstrum has a different ability. Some of them are for traversal. Basically all of them are for traversal. Apart from there's one that lets you see secrets. So switches or stuff that's so old you can't read it in the modern day. There's one that lets you bash open walls and stuff. like it's kind of Metroidvania-y almost. The first one you get after Adol's Crimson Line ability is this ability that lets you run up walls, which is extremely cool for the traversal stuff because the whole of Balduc, the city, is very vertical. There's a lot of like, I literally can't get up there, and there's some cool stuff happening up there. The structure of the game is basically that Balduc is under assault by they're called Lemuries. They're basically like demons.
Monsters.
Yeah. And they attack when like certain things happen. So like when there's like a confluence of events, the demons will attack, and Aprilis, who is the woman with the prosthetic arm and leg, will take you into the Grimwald Nox, which is like a pocket dimension, and in that pocket dimension you then have to protect the city from these demons. So every section of the game has like, there's free time where you run around the town, you do side quests, like buy gear, meet new characters and recruit them to work for you. And then there'll be a Grimwald Nox bit where it's kind of tower defensey, but like you can buy stuff in the overworld to make it easier on yourself, like decoys and turrets and stuff like that. And then after that, you'll have to get into the prison somehow to get something. So like the whole game revolves around that. There's some real shady stuff happening in the prison, and you're shooting into the prison to do stuff in most chapters. It's really, really cool. The combat system is awesome. Like you played East Origin, right? Which has the same flash guard system.
It doesn't. It kind of does. It's way more robust in East 9. It's not really a thing you have to interact with much in Origin. I can't even remember if it's actually in there, or if it's just there is like a button parry thing you can do, but it's bigger. So Ys 9 is based on the engine that they introduce in Ys 7, I believe. So it's different.
It's basically a carbon copy of 8, from what people say, but with
and 8 kind of took the 7 was the first game that was sort of in the 8 style. There's a really good sort of layout of it on digital MLS, the thing that I was using to look at. But yeah, it's Origin is definitely similar for sure.
So like base L1 is a dodge move, like, and you can use that anytime. Like you can dodge, or like in the overworld, just randomly around. You can do a little dodge roll, and also R1 is like a guard where you guard against incoming attacks. But if you time those right, so you dodge out of the way of an incoming attack at the right moment, it speeds you up massively. Attack speed, movement speed, massive boost for a few seconds. And if you flash guard at the exact right time, you get critical hits on all of your attacks for the next few seconds. So it's a great way to take down enemies with loads of health. I finished the game this week, so it took me like 25-30 hours. I think I haven't looked at the hour clock since I was about 2 or 3 chapters ago. I really enjoyed the story. I didn't feel like it overstayed its welcome, which there were certain bits of it where I was like, do I need to sit through this cutscene? Because I was trying to finish the final dungeon at like 1 a.m. Because I just wanted to get it done that day. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. I enjoy I'm writing a review which will be up on the site this week, hopefully. But yeah, I would super recommend it to anyone who likes action RPGs. You can shoot the difficulty up as well. So it's something that you can play it almost like a Musou game at the lowest difficulty. And if you put it up higher, the flash guard and the flash move is like essential. They mix a lot of the movement and traversal powers into the boss fights, which is really cool. So like when you get the ability that lets you see hidden items in the area, you then fight a spider boss, and the spider boss can basically you can only attack its legs because it's so huge until you attack the right leg, which you can only see using this hidden sight ability. So you tap the right leg and the body falls down, and you can attack the body and do damage, which is super fun.
The boss fights are not like Dark Souls in their difficulty at all, but they are big set piece moments, and like of modern games, that's what they kind of call to mind to me. It's probably a better comparison to be some almost like Zelda mixed with like a Dark Souls kind of thing, because they have a big health bar and you zoom in on them and stuff, but they usually have mechanics that are more like gimmicky, I guess. But they're very fun, at least in Origin. And the way that the game, if anyone's interested in playing more of these games, the first two Ys, Omen, and the second game that come together in a pack, they have like a bump system of combat where you just run into enemies. It's very fun, not particularly deep, but fun. And then Ys Origin, Oath and Felghana, and Ys 6 Napishtim all use the Napishtim engine. And so they're like, it's very fun. It's not like it feels like lacking or anything. But then the Celceta and the Lacrimosa of Dana and Seven and Nostrum all use the 7 engine, with some improvements here and there. One of the cool things about the Ys series is all of the games are good in it, and it's not like, well, you should just play Ys 9. Like, if you were to ask me, if a 22-year-old were to ask me what Final Fantasy game should I play, I would say like, well, the old head in me wants you to play Final Fantasy 7 and 8 and probably 6, but let's be honest, the newest Final Fantasy is probably going to be the one that is going to be the most interesting to you because it looks modern and it plays modern. Ys is interesting because like every game in the series has some unique elements that make it still worth playing today as much as it was the day that it came out, which is really cool.
I think the thing that you get with Ys 9, like the biggest criticism I have of it is that it does not look very good.
That's kind of a running theme.
It's a fairly small area, which is basically just like a classic medieval town. And sections that are not inside the town are just kind of green fields. There's no diversity in the biomes, which is something that you get in Ys 8. So there's a lot of diversity in Ys 8 because that's an island. It's like a bigger area. You don't revisit sections, whereas in 9 you do revisit stuff a lot, but you revisit with like different traversal powers. So like you're like, oh, I can just take this huge shortcut because now I can walk through walls or whatever.
And I think that's a big part of like each of the games being very different. Like Origin very much feels super combat focused because you're going to probably play it 3 times and you're going through literally the same environment every time you play it. So it's all about like getting good at the combat and seeing the mechanical differences between the 3 characters. And then like I've played some of Celceta, and Celceta is just in a forest. There's not a lot of diversity in the biomes, but Celceta is all about like exploration. You're trying to fill a map in to find specific stuff on the map. So I think that's one of the cool things about the series is like they definitely have different, even though they're all action RPGs where you kind of mash buttons and use like parries and dodges and stuff, they all have a different kind of world designs and like goals to follow. They're not just every time you go in a linear path through a story. They're always like doing different stuff with the way that they're designed, which I think means that sometimes there's going to be cases where you might like one better than the other that isn't necessarily the newest one.
Yeah, I think a lot of people have said that they think that Ys 8 gets basically the perfect gameplay mix. A lot of the character designs are really cool. I really like Raging Bull. She's one of the monstrums. She has a hammer that's like 4 times the size of her, and bull horns. She's very, very cool. She's an absolute badass.
If all you
and,
need is a hammer that's 4 times the size of the person, let me tell you about Dark Souls.
Smo's hammer.
I thought you were going to say Kingdom Hearts.
No. Kingdom Hearts doesn't have anywhere near as cool of weapons in it as Dark Souls.
No big hammers.
There is a Keyblade in Dark Souls 2. That is, which is very funny.
That's true.
There are
Yeah.
some pretty sick Keyblades, though. But
There are, yeah.
You're
not wrong.
They are generally cooler in Dark Souls.
There's no Fume Ultra Great Sword in Kingdom Hearts. Let's put it that way.
So I would really recommend it. I might say to a lot of people to try 8 first. A lot of people say that like the gameplay in 9 is really, really good, but that the environment that you play in isn't that fun. Like the prison is literally like grey walls and cement floors, like, and you spend a lot of time in that prison. Probably like 20 or 30% of your hours in the game are in this prison, which is literally just grey walls and floors. So that could be better.
All right.
But Lacrimosa of Dana is set on like this beautiful tropical island, and a lot of the story in Lacrimosa of Dana is that you're pulling together a crew to like build a village worth of people, and like each person you find and save adds something new to the village. Whereas like in Monstrum Nox, you're recruiting people for your like freedom fighting superhero team, but like most of the time they just hang out in your base and you can interact with their like stuff they do or not. So like you save these 2 kids and they're like apprentice blacksmiths, and you can go to them to improve your weapons, but like I never needed to. So I literally only interacted with them like 3 times the whole game.
I think that those games in general sort of suffer from a thing where, like, to kind of get the full mechanical experience and really wring out all of the mechanical depth, you do have to play them on higher difficulties. But that can also make certain parts of playing them feel like maybe a chore, because now you're on a higher difficulty. I don't really know because I haven't messed around with that, but I think in most of them you can change the difficulty on the fly. I don't know if that's true with 9. So you can at least experiment and see. But the real answer is you got to play the first 2 Ys games, and then you got to go back and you play Ys Origin, which is actually pretty like comparatively newer, but it tells the origin story that happens before the first 2. Then you might think that you're going to play Ys 3, but no, you're playing Ys 4. After that, you can play Ys 3.
Oh God.
We don't talk about 5. 5 is, we don't talk about it. Next, you're going to play Ys 6, which is set after Ys 8, but you're playing in release order at this point. Then 7, then going back in the timeline to 8, and then forward to Ys 9. That's the order you play.
Where is Ys 9? Is Ys 9 after Ys 7?
Ys 9 is the furthest along in the timeline. It is after Ys 7.
Yeah,
there's like some Street Fighter timeline bullshit.
The timeline is all over the place. But to Sam's point, the thing that is great about the stories of the Ys games is after like after Ys 1 and 2 and Origin, those are all fairly tightly tied together, even though Origin's way in the past. After that, the games definitely become at all like waking up with amnesia pretty much every game because something happened. and it's always a good setup because he like wakes up and then there's people around him who are like, oh shit, you got amnesia. And then they're trying to explain things to him and he's trying to learn it alongside you. And then it's always like, oh, there's these 6 different characters in this weird situation. And it means that they never get caught in like I mean, this is intentional in Final Fantasy XIV, so I'm not saying it's a problem. But like in Final Fantasy XIV, it's like been one story running for many years. Whereas in the Ys games, every time it's like, now we're in a different kingdom with different people in it, and the government's different, and that other stuff did happen, and we might reference it, but now we're here, and everything's different, and it's very fun.
Okay.
Yeah, extremely standalone.
Yeah,
is how I would describe Ys 9.
It's nice because there's enough there that if you play all the games, there's totally breadcrumbs and character development that you get. Like there's certain characters that show up in most of them, other than Adol as well and stuff. But they also can like say like, this time we want to make a nation of sky pirates that exist on the other continent from the people you met before, and the story has nothing to do with the last one. And it gives them a lot of freedom to just try cool stuff.
Pat, I will forewarn you that there's barely any Dogi.
That's unfortunate.
East 9. If you're a big Dogi fanboy, he seems great. I enjoyed him in East 8.
Yeah, different. Some games he's there a lot. Some games he's not. He's the chief character that like shows up in most of the games, apart from Adol, for sure.
But yeah, I would highly recommend it. There's some really cool late game story stuff that I really liked. About the time I was thinking about checking out the story and skipping all the cutscenes was when they were like, "Oh, this is happening," and I was like, "Oh, I'm 100% interested now," and I wanted to see what happened next.
Those games are just super fun to play too, and in sort of similar way to like a Muso or something. Like they're not the same. They're just they're a little bit mashy, but the abilities are really fun, and the characters are cool, and so yeah, it's
the traverse abilities in 9 make you kind of want to go around and do stuff.
Yeah.
So like there was one night when I was like, all right, I'm pushing to finish this game. I'm in like chapter 7 or something. I was like, I can finish chapter 7 today, chapter 8 tomorrow, chapter 9, and then I'm done. But then like halfway through chapter 7, I was like, oh, she's got this new movement ability. Why don't I like check the whole town out and see if there's any new stuff I can get? And it was like half an hour of just like gliding and zip lining and running up walls to see if there was like new hidden stuff that I couldn't get before. And that was super fun.
Did you get pictures of the Spider-Man?
There's
oh no,
there is a non-zero. No, you don't ever have to get pictures of Spider-Man, but there is a non-zero, like the Monstrum are superheroes and everyone hates them in the same way that people hate Spider-Man.
Isn't it just JJ hates Spider-Man anyway?
He puts out the propaganda, so a lot of people don't like Spider-Man.
Yeah, that's true. There are a lot of idiots.
I mean, he's got an audience, right?
There are so many segues. Speaking of prisons and free time where you decide how to spend your day, and Musos. Allison, tell us about Persona 5 Strikers.
Yeah, I got Persona 5 stickers, which was very exciting to pick up. I haven't had a whole lot of time to play it this week, but I am, I think, pretty solidly into the main gameplay loop of it, which is the least Muso game possible, because like a lot of the dungeon setup is pretty much Persona. So it's like that you don't have like the, all right, you need to run to this area and fight a bunch of people, and then suddenly you take over this area. Like that, at least as far as I've seen, does not exist in this. It is like very, very close to Persona, just with the like, sometimes you'll be in a combat area and there's a ton of enemies and you go, oh yeah, this is a Muso. So Persona 5
just progressing like linearly through a level, or is it like a little less? Is it still like kind of you got to run around and like solve puzzles to get through the level or anything? Or?
So far, the puzzles have been pretty mild, but like there is like an element of, okay, we need to figure out the best way to get into this area. So I don't know to what extent it's going to be this kind of similar setup as in Persona 5, where you have to like come up with the route and then get in. But there is an element of, okay, for example, we can't get to the first jail, which is what they do instead of palaces and Strikers.
Okay. I had no idea.
Yeah. So I thought you knew that, which was I thought
no, it's just Persona 5. He spends like that entire game in a jail cell.
No, it's called. Yeah. No, I was like, oh, I didn't know you read up on Strikers before this that thing. Yeah, no, they're called jails, but like the first one is pretty much mostly just taking place in Shibuya. So you're like running around Shadow Shibuya, and you're trying to get into the store where the character you're trying to defeat is. Right?
Is it the gun shop owner?
No.
Is that in Shibuya?
He's not there yet. No.
Okay. He's gotta be. He's gotta be. Like, this is a Muso game. You're gonna have weapons. You
order stuff online now.
Is it Tanaka? Who's the online shopping guy? He was the TV
The
guy.
online shopping guy is now your new companion, who's in the team, who's an AI named Sophia. Who,
God damn it! What are they even doing? This is not my persona.
But yeah, but like for example, it's like, okay, I need to get over this area in Shibuya, but there's like these spotlights, and if you run into them, like you won't be able to pass because it's just like you'll get immediately killed. So you're trying to find like the ways to disable those spotlights so that you can go through. So there is like so it's like it'll be interesting to see how far it goes with this, but it really is like kind of has a lot of the same DNA of like the Persona 5 palaces, where you have the meter where you have to keep it like the stealth meter down like a certain amount. So you are trying to not necessarily be like running in guns a-blazing. Like you can like jump to different areas in the different places in the area, and then sneak up behind somebody and then attack them. And once you attack the person, like then you get into like kind of a smaller kind of combat arena with a bunch of enemies. So that's kind of where the Musa comes in. But like a lot of it is like really Persona 5e. Like you do collect masks from Persona you defeat, and you also can fuse them like you normally do.
Is Jack Frost in the game?
Oh yeah.
What is it? Wouldn't be. You can't call it Persona without putting Jack Frost in it.
Hey,
It's like
you're
Pokemon.
telling me the
like
gun
Pokemon
shop
without
owner
Pikachu.
isn't here. Like,
Listen, the
Tanaka
gun shop owner is
isn't
just like,
here?
I don't know. I'm fucking off. Well, I don't know how long I'm going to be in Tokyo, because from what I understand, most of the game is like you're kind of on a road trip with everybody.
Well,
I haven't gotten to that part yet. Right now, you've just where I'm at is that we just came back to Tokyo. Joker just came back to Tokyo and is like hanging out with everybody, and then suddenly shit starts going down, and they're like, God damn it, we were just gonna go camping. We wanted to have a vacation and like have fun together, and now shit's going down, so we have to do this all again. So it is like a direct sequel to Persona 5. So I would definitely recommend playing either Persona 5
saw an
or
army of Jack
Royal.
Frost.
I've heard that this game is like. I've seen a couple of people say on Twitter that like maybe this is just how Persona games should play. Like that the combat's like really good. And...
I don't know if I'd agree with that, but it is interesting because it does have like the whole Persona strengths and weaknesses.
Yeah.
It's just all done done in real time. So like for example, you'll be in this giant arena and you're like, okay, this is a strong enemy, so I'm going to like go through my persona and see, oh, there's something that's strong against this. So then you use that. It's just like all done live. I still prefer the turn-based, but that also might just be me because I like kind of spicy turn-based combat.
Sure, yeah.
Which is what I consider Persona, where it's like turn-based, but kind of with like, some depth and strategy to it. So but at the same time, it is I think the thing that strikes me most about Strikers, which is I did not intend that to be a pun, is just how Persona it is. Because you hear like Persona Muso and you kind of imagine like, a Persona Muso. Whereas here it's like it feels very much like Persona, but with a different combat system added onto it. So yeah.
It seems like the best thing for Omega Force is to have another creative team there that is like shepherding an IP to them and saying like, hey, make sure it still has stuff from our thing in it.
Oh yeah, I'm almost 100. I'm like, I'm almost 100% that they worked super closely with Atlus in terms of like, the characters and story. Yeah. The art assets, like there are certain times where they return to certain like areas like when you're running around Shibuya, you're like, oh yeah, I know where that place is.
Yeah.
I know where that place is, and then
It's cool.
there's a couple of like places that you return to, and it's like all your familiar stuff. So it really doesn't even feel like it's developed by a separate team, which is kind of neat. But yeah, it is. I kind of wonder that too, where it's like they have like one person doing like all of the you know, story and characters and everything, and then they're adding in the Muso gameplay to kind of add on to it. But it's been really fun. It's been really fun to revisit these characters. I found out that this game takes about 6 months after the story of Persona 5, which is like I finished playing Royal like a little bit over 6 months ago, so it feels like I'm playing it at the exact right time, which is kind of fun. And then I'm like revisiting my characters so that I'm like, oh, it's my favorite. It's like the one I got the weirdest feeling like about like just so excited for was when I saw Sojiro again, who owns the coffee and curry shop that you stayed in Persona 5. Because I was just like, you're back, and all these characters are back except for the gun shop owner. I'm sorry, Andre. Sorry, Andre.
Favorite.
But also the new character Sophia is really fun, and I'm really excited to see more of her.
This isn't the new character from Royale, right?
No.
Yeah.
Royal, yeah. It's Royal, not Royale. But
Persona
5 Royale
is
coming to smartphones in 2022.
yeah, no,
We'll
the new character. It's not the new character, and that is a bit of a bummer. That being said, it is totally playable. I know that Pat asked me if playing this after Persona 5 Royal would be any issue, and I don't think there's any issue.
I can live with it if it's like missing some stuff.
Yeah, and also the new character. One of the things about her is that she is a really strong gymnast. Like she is almost like professional gymnast. Like she goes to competitions and stuff, so you can kind of like justify it mentally, where you're like, okay, she's like at some training thing, and so that's why she's not there. So it's like, you know, of all the characters to not be there, you're kind of like, it makes the most sense, I suppose. But I mean, it's still a bummer because I think she's one of my I think she was one of the best characters in Persona 5. So I was like, it is a little bit of a bummer, but I mean, it's like I'll live with that. And Sophia is like the fucking best. And
I bet they put
I would
her
die for her.
I bet they put her in as DLC.
Yeah, that could be.
Almost
along
certainly.
with like a billion costumes.
I will buy every DLC and costume because it also, that's the other thing too, is that it has that just like, one of the things that's so cool about Persona 5 is just how much it oozes with style.
Yeah.
And this has that in spades. So it's really fun to just revisit too. So but it feels so Persona 5 that to the point where you get into the combat and you're like, oh shit, that's right. This isn't just normal Persona 5. This isn't just like a normal Persona 5 sequel. It's Muso too.
Well,
so
I didn't want to have to buy this game.
I'm gonna finish.
It's fun. I like it a lot, and I'm excited to keep getting more of the story. And also, it's kind of fun because each of the characters plays a little bit differently in the Muso-y aspect. So you're kind of like, it's fun to jump around through them too. And from what I understand, I don't think that there are the same kind of social link stuff, which is a little bit of a shame. But you do have like a team bond meter that you can do. So it's like it's as less like you talk as like an individual one-on-one, and here it's more of like the Phantom Thieves are all bonding together. So it's kind of like different, but it's kind of nice too to have that like overall group bond be kind of at the center of it right now.
I'm gonna finish Dark Souls 3 this week, maybe this weekend. I don't know. The DLCs are frustrating, infuriating. I don't know what the word is. It's kind of disappointingly so. But then,
which one are you still on? Ashes?
I'm still in Ashes of Ariandel.
That one's supposed to be short.
I don't like the way it's designed. I'll be honest, but I'm gonna push through it. And then I'm gonna play 13 Sentinels because I really want to play that game. And then I'm gonna, and then I think. I mean, I have Yeast games to play too, but I think Persona 5 Royal is gonna be. I'm hoping around May I can play Persona 5 Royal.
When you can kind of pencil that in.
Yeah. Yeast games are not that long. The Yeast games are pretty manageable.
The other thing that's kind of fun about having that I just thought of having Sophia in there is it is kind of fun to have somebody who's kind of a separate character learning about the Phantom Thieves, and kind of also, since she's an AI, is learning about human stuff in general. But like at one point she's like, okay, so these people are hurting a whole lot of people. Yeah. So why don't we just kill them? And you're just like, well,
that's very.
I'm a child. I'm a literal child.
That's very SMT3 of them, which is like the one that's set in the future at post-apocalypse.
The one that they're remaking,
remastering, Nocturne,
right? And they have to kind of like it's kind of like a humorous setting, but they also have to kind of go, well, also we don't kill people. We don't want to do that.
We're the Phantom Thieves, not the Phantom Assassins.
Yeah, but
I want to play the Phantom Assassins game.
But it's kind of funny where it's like, so we have this big problem. We could just kill her, and you're just like, oh god. It's kind of fun to have that like little have that person that kind of push back a little bit. So it's I'm excited to give this more time this weekend and hopefully get a little bit further.
Phantom Thieves have to change Agent 47's heart.
I specifically didn't listen too closely to that conversation because P5 Strikers is literally sat on the shelf next to me, ready to play.
I bet you'll like it a lot, from what I've heard.
Yeah, I bet you will. It's very fun, and I'm excited to give it a little bit more time and get further into it. Like I was looking at an article, and apparently there's like a cooking system that I have not seen at all yet, and I'm excited to see where that is. So
every game has cooking now.
Yeah, I mean, I guess.
You about Trails of Cold Steel.
Yeah, I was gonna say, name a game.
All of the East games have cooking.
Yeah,
big Breath of the Wild vibes on this one.
Yeah. Oh God, shut the fuck up. Fuck off.
Speaking of fucking off, I'm gonna go.
Fuck off, Sam.
Aww.
I'm joking.
And look after my child. But it's been good chatting.
Yeah, get us leaks on that Skyrim board game from Baby Todd Howard.
He says, you finally awoken or something. I don't know.
See it. Finally woke up.
It's by
you should
Sam.
say that to that baby. Oh, he's gone.
There's a very funny. I don't want to. I mean, it's Outrider. Don't worry about Outrider spoilers. It's very funny. There's a moment when the big shift happens in like tone and visual style, where your hands are bound and you're in the back of a truck, and it is extremely Skyrim like. And I saw someone make a meme that was like, you're finally awake. I thought about that when that scene happened, and it made me laugh. Yeah. Just instead of solemn prisoners around you, it's people who are like, I'm a fucking freak, man, and like doing Mad Max stuff.
Yep. Well,
also the thing that's kind of fun is one of the things that I noticed, I was playing it yesterday, is Makoto wants to go see a movie called Like a Dragon Yakuza.
It's very funny.
So
Sega, so of course
I was like, that is very good.
They should have replaced, you know what someone should do is replace the Rams, or like the sheep people in the movie minigame, and Like a Dragon with Jack Frost.
Wait a minute. They got to make a Yakuza Buso game at some point, right?
They're basically those already. They're
basically not now. They're not now. They're not now.
Not now.
They're
but
JRPGs
not right now, but in the past, yeah.
But the 1 through 6 or 0 through 6 are basically that.
Sure, but
they've
they're not
they've got one
anymore.
set
So
in like old timey Japan, and they're talking about like maybe we're gonna like remaster, remake the old
I've
timey
always
ones.
wanted to play
for,
that one or those ones.
I can't remember. Yeah, there's like 2 that they're talking about,
Yeah.
like remaking, and because like we can't just do a port. They said like we'd have to like.
I've heard that they're really good.
Yeah.
Everything about them is really good except the combat. So maybe
a Musou game.
But maybe they could take a pass at the combat and make those better and bring them to the West, please, and put them on PlayStation 5.
Which is funny because it's just like the same characters, but they're just
Oh, I
like,
know. Yes, they're just
old-timey,
transposed.
yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
onto like the Meiji era or whenever it takes place.
Yeah, very silly. Anyway,
It's also like still about like an orphanage.
probably, yeah. I mean, that's like
from what I've
everyone-
seen. I
like,
looked
yeah,
into playing
they're-
them, like
they're
fan
always-
translations.
There's always an orphan. Yeah. Well, I've been playing more Dark Souls. I haven't played much
Dark Souls is
new
good.
recently. Yeah, Dark Souls 3 fucking rips.
I've got the 2 princes, and is the fight I'm on now, which is like the second to last fight in the game. That
Mhm,
fight's
yeah.
cool.
I'm in Lothric Castle right now.
All right. Well, I killed the party of asshole adventurers in
Okay.
the Grand Archives. That felt good.
Yeah.
What weapon are
Well,
you using?
I've been mainly sticking with the deep axe.
That doesn't scale though, does it?
But I built it up. I upgraded it a bunch.
Okay.
And then I also for Aldrich I built the one of the great swords, the Farron great sword.
Yeah, that one's cool.
The one that like lets you spin around and shit.
Yep.
Because he's weak. Aldrich is weak to that, but strong against deep. So I was like, well, this weapon is not gonna just do it for me.
I was using the deep axe for a while because it's really good against
Lots of things.
yeah, lots of things, but there was a boss I was fighting that it was strong against them.
Yeah.
And then had to switch when I got to Aldrich.
Yeah. They're like I was having some trouble with Aldrich, like because I was like able to do like 500 damage like per hit with like the sword, like when I got like a good hit, but then like his moves are just such a pain in the ass.
The arrow,
I didn't have enough stamina for it. The arrows didn't give me that much trouble.
The arrows were the only one that I found consistently like infuriating.
I mean, it's like the whole suite of moves is very difficult.
It's a good fight. Aldrich is cool.
Yeah. But yeah, but then eventually like the run where I did it, it was like over in like 3 minutes and like almost flawless. And it was just like boom, gotcha. I've been watching a lot of lore videos on the Dark Souls series and like the Soulsborne games, because like I've never actually dived that deep into the lore. So like
it's
this
so
is
cool.
like all new stuff.
It's so amazing the like extent to which very minor, seemingly minor things matter. Like, oh, well, you can find this ring on a corpse in this part of this environment, and so that must mean that this corpse is the corpse of so and so who was referenced by another character, and blah 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 blah. Like it's so rad.
I've watched like an hour-long video. I don't even think I finished it, but like an hour-long video on Ash Lake and Dark Souls 1.
Yeah, I'm on like the last 10 minutes of that video.
And like they're like, okay, there's this ring on the way there, and then we can find this design on like all these other
the Chloranthem
things.
ring. It's like one of the most important rings in all 3 of the games. Like
it's very good.
Yes.
But like the lore behind it and like how they extrapolate out, it's like, oh well, we can find this design here, and what this means, and like how it connects to Hovel, and like, oh well, we can see this corpse was dragged over here, and then look over here, there was a bridge, but then it was destroyed, so we think Hovel was trapped here.
Yeah,
and it wasn't like, it's like it's really impressive.
The people who figure that stuff out, it's like doing archaeology or something, like in a game.
I'd love to like he'd never do it, but I'd love Miyazaki to like just weigh in and be like, yeah, no, this is like close. Or
part of the reason that it works at all is because Miyazaki will say things. I forget the exact wording, but there was one thing in that specific video. These videos are from Hawkshaw, by the way. Hawkshaw is really good Dark Souls lore, specifically Dark Souls 1 lore enthusiast and researcher. And Miyazaki specifically says shit like, like, Well, when we designed this boss, it was really important to get across this aspect of their character. I think it was anyway. I might be misremembering. And it's like, that's definitely a hint that he's dropping. But he'll just be like, I don't know. It's certainly interesting that this item is in this area, I guess.
Yeah.
If you want to read into it.
Yeah. Or there was the one where he's like talking about someone accidentally made a boss's head slightly too big.
Yeah.
And then the designer admitted I accidentally made it too big, but then Miyazaki loved it, and Miyazaki's like, I wish you didn't tell them that.
Yeah, because it actually fit the lore of the character that he had come up with. That
yeah, he's like, I wish you didn't tell them it was an accident. It was because that stuff like so that cool. Is I'm not gonna turn into one of these people who's like Elden Ring when it'll come when it comes. I can wait, but
I jokingly am like that. I'm sure it'll come.
Yeah,
I'm fine to wait for it. I'm very excited about it though.
I am too. I'm excited to see what they do because this has been the longest break they've taken since Demon Souls.
Has it been?
Between games? Yeah,
because Sekiro came out in 2018, right? 2018 or 2019?
Yeah, but they were doing almost yearly. 2019.
It was 2019, I think.
Yeah. But it's still because we don't know when Elden Ring's coming out. It's between releases, it feels like this has been the longest in a while because there was
it does
Demon
feel
Souls,
like a long time for sure.
Dark Souls was not. It was 2 years later. Dark Souls 2 was another. It's been every 2 years, I guess.
Yeah, but it was 3 years between Dark Souls 3 and Sekiro.
Was it?
Yeah, Dark Souls 3 came out in 2016, and Sekiro came out in March 2019.
Did they do their remaster of Dark Souls in there?
They did, I think.
Okay.
There was also DLC for Dark Souls. I think that's the biggest thing. There's been no DLC for Sekiro. So
yeah, they did boss rush mode, but yeah.
So I think that is why it feels so long, because the DLC in Dark Souls is usually fairly significant in terms of what it adds from a story and lore perspective. And from a fucking wolves and Norse Viking guys that I can do 500 damage to, and it still only does an 1/8 of their health bar.
Have you made it to the chapel thing?
No.
You should probably just run by all those.
I'm trying to run by them. I thought I had to go up a tower, but it turns out that was a red herring, and there's nothing up there for me to get. Not a tall tower, it was a watchtower kind of thing. But yeah, I think it'll be okay. Today I'm going to try to just run through. I'm sure I'll be fine when I get to the next bonfire. Yeah.
Once you get past that part, it should be fine. And then you should watch the lore video about that stuff because it's very fascinating.
The thing that frustrates me, we can move on after this, but the one thing about Dark Souls 3, I think the environments are spectacular. The game feels better than ever. It's gorgeous looking. Like I said to Andre at one point, I don't really need video games to look better than what Dark Souls 3 is. It's brilliant. The boss designs are spectacular. I think that the shield enemies are not particularly fun to fight, and there's a lot of them. And the way that they tend to operate is, they don't do anything until you provoke them to do something in a lot of cases, and they are everything in that game feels way faster than you. So it's if you attack them, if you try to bait out their attacks, you can do that, but then if you dodge them, there's no way you're going to get back in to hit them before their shield is back up because they're so fucking fast. So it almost feels like you have to bait their attack animation and then just eat it.
I'm just always going for the backstab.
I just can never get around to the back of them because they spin around too fast. So I don't know. The shield enemies just frustrate me, and they lean on them in this DLC so far pretty heavily, and I find that really infuriating.
It goes mostly the beginning for those.
That's good.
And then after that, I don't think there are many. There might be some, but they're not the focus.
More than any other Souls game, when I was fighting the Dancer, the little run up to the Dancer, you're running from an area you've been through, the second main area of the game, and there's these skeleton guys there, and I can kill them in one hit. But even after getting up to level 70 and having pretty high health, I have over 1,000 health and a pretty good armor, they hit me one time and it still takes 1/3 of my health away, and they're way fucking faster than me. And it's just what on earth are we doing here?
Are you? What's your equip? Are you over 70% equipped?
Nope, never.
Okay.
I would never.
Okay.
Anyway,
I don't know.
There's a lot of fast enemies. It's clear that this is the game they made after Bloodborne, for sure. I'm
It's
looking
different.
forward to playing Bloodborne and not having a shield to rely on, and also playing Sekiro eventually, and
Mhm.
everything being very different in terms of the way the enemies work.
Sure. Well, with that, let's move on to the news. This week there was a lot of news, a lot of stuff happening.
I know.
And one of the things that happened this week was not a Bloodborne remaster or update, sadly. But Sony did have a big event where they talked about games coming to the PS4 and PS5 this year, right? It's like 10 games all coming this year. Right?
Sure.
Supposedly, a lot of them coming this year.
I don't think they're all going to come out this year, but yeah, I think the idea is that they're all coming out this year.
Yeah. So it was mostly stuff we had seen before. Solar Ash, the Heart Machine team. What's that game they made?
Oh my god, it was just in my head because I was just thinking about replaying it. Hyper Light Drifter.
Hyper Light Drifter. That's a good name too. Solar Ash, Hyper Light Drifter.
Hyper Light Drifter is a really good game.
That name, Hyper Light Drifter, like a phrase. It's real good.
Like, yeah, as a name alone, it's great.
Yep. Yep.
But yeah, so they showed that.
Solar Ash is also exciting because Zoe Quinn's doing like work on the story, and their work is really awesome. I think their comic book is really good. I'm very excited, very 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 excited for that game.
Yeah, that's one of my most anticipated.
Definitely.
Let's see, what else was there? There was Five Nights at Freddy's, which is no longer a like just look at the camera game. Now it's a actual like survival horror, run around in first person and be hunted by animatronic monsters. It still got like the camera stuff in there.
The game looks terrible.
It looks more interesting than Five Nights at Freddy's has ever looked.
I wonder if it is also Christian propaganda.
Yeah. I don't know. That's yeah.
I
mean,
how much side hugging there is in that game.
What else?
If they dance, they have to leave room for Jesus.
Yep.
The only real, maybe only is being harsh, but the main new game was Sifu, which is by the Absolver team. And
I missed that detail. That makes a lot of sense.
I believe maybe it's not the. I thought it was the Absolver team.
It would make sense. I mean, it looks like Absolver in some ways. They're the only other team that have made a. Absolver's good too. I might play that game again in the future. That's a good game.
Who made this? Slow Clap. I think that's
the Absolver people. You should play Absolver if you haven't.
Yeah.
Slow Clap is Absolver people. It's like a Dark Soulsy
martial arts game. It's difficult.
It is. Yeah, it's really
relies heavily on parrying, and if you don't have like a good TV or monitor, that can be very difficult.
It's also initially was like a I don't know what that game looks like now, because when it came out, it was like fairly limited single player content, and the point was that you would go into the environments and do PvP. So I don't know if it's active or what the deal is with it, but anyway, it's that Sifu game. I guess it's just not. I don't care about. I don't think that it looked particularly exciting. If you're into martial arts, very cool. I hope it's great for people who are.
I'm interested to play it. Like they do good combat stuff. There's a time mechanic which they're selling, which is like when you die, like time passes and you revive, but it's unclear like what like mechanical implications that has. So until they talk about that, like I don't really care.
I should rephrase too. I do like martial arts a lot, and I like some martial arts movies a lot. I just don't need it in. I don't need it in that delivery vector. So
that's fair. Anything else from the state of play besides Final Fantasy VII that stuck out? Or Crash? It's about time.
It's an update. Patch. That was almost as much of a joke as leading the PS5 thing with GTA.
Yeah.
Except there's more of a chance that I will play GTA 5 online than I will play Crash 4. No offense to Chris. I don't want to. It's cool if you like Crash. I just think a next gen patch for that game being the opening for your state of play was like oh, it set the tone very much for, oh, this is gonna suck.
Mhm.
It was funny because that was going on while I was at work. So then I saw that our podcast group chat had like 100 messages, and I was like, oh, did something happen? And I asked that in the chat, and you guys are like, no.
Yeah.
I will say there was a line. What was the line? Feel the power of the suck or something?
Feel the suck or something.
Feel the suck in the crash thing, and that almost made me. I was driving. I wasn't watching it while I was driving, but I was listening to the audio, and I almost like swerved off the road when the narrator said "feel the power of the suck" or whatever it was.
Imagine if that was the thing that killed you.
It's worth it.
That's the power of the suck kills you.
That was hilarious. I thought Returnal looked cool this time more so than it has in the past.
Now that we like saw what it actually is,
yeah,
sure,
I'm more interested in it.
Oh, I might have to watch that because I'm vaguely interested in that game, but I again don't know exactly.
It's like a roguelike, which we kind of knew. But it looks like it's it looks like it's more traditionally roguelike in that it's all procedural and everything changes each time, and there's like different upgrades you get each time. Like I wasn't sure if it was going to be a roguelike in the sense that like you die and go back to the beginning, or if it was like going to really be a roguelike, and it sounds like it is that kind of like style.
There's narrative stuff going on too, though.
Yeah.
Like
I mean,
the house thing, and
it looks like
kind of horror.
It looks like the way that the narrative will work is every so many levels you go to that house, and that's kind of how it's working. Is you're like pushing forward, and the narrative is mostly there. But I still think the movement in that game looks really stiff and weird. It just doesn't. I don't know, something about it. In some ways, it looks stiff and weird in the way that I would expect a game from a studio that primarily has made like kind of arcade style games would look. So I don't know. But Housemarque is good. I mean, their arcade style games are really good, so hopefully it'll be cool.
Okay.
Are you finally sold on Deathloop now?
Finally, I've always been sold
I know,
on Deathloop.
that's the joke, is that everyone has.
So like
what
I
person
think there are people who are not sold on Deathloop and they don't know what the game is, and I feel like it's been pretty clear.
Yes. Wait, have you seen that response?
I've seen some people talking about it like on Twitter. Like I haven't seen that.
There's like a feature-length film worth of trailer footage out for that game.
Yeah.
And who hasn't watched like one trailer of Deathloop and gone, oh yeah, I'm gonna play that.
At this point, it's like the stuff they showed at the State of Play. I was like, I don't want to see this. This is stuff I want to find in the game. Stop showing me shit. I don't know. That sucks. Like, come on, man.
Yeah, like I'm kind of glad that I didn't watch it, like because I am really interested in that game, but also like I want to discover things too.
Yeah, and just put the fuck.
Yeah, just put it out. I don't need another trailer. Yeah. I'm gonna play it.
I saw a trailer for that. Like the last trailer I saw for Deathloop, I was like, yep, I'm playing that video game.
I had vague hope. I didn't voice it because it's silly and it wouldn't have happened, but I had vague hope that they were going to like announce the reason they were showing a trailer is because they were going to say like, actually it's coming out in the end of March or something. I didn't think they were going to shadow drop it, but like, actually we moved up the release date again because the delay didn't end up being needed or something. And then no, it was just a trailer for Deathloop.
Maybe they're like, we need to remind people that this is coming to PlayStation.
Nobody knows that stuff in the mainstream though, so it's
and how many people in the mainstream are watching State of Play?
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, but I don't know, whatever. That game's 2-3 months out, so
yeah, it says it's May 21st. So
I will be playing that game. I might take time off from work to play that game because that's right there at the top of my
coming out.
Probably won't, but like I'm really excited to play that.
When's Golden Week this year?
Also, Kenna looks cool. I didn't think it looked good.
They actually showed more like of what that game is. It looks really nice. Like the art stuff is cool. It looks kind of like a Zelda-ish type game.
I'm into that. I thought that was a Sony exclusive. I didn't realize that was like a third-party game. It's coming to Epic as well.
Okay,
yeah, it looks like it's going to
PlayStation. It seems.
But yeah, it looks cool. I don't know.
Oddworld Soulstorm, the 2.9D platformer.
I mean, it's nothing against the Lorne Lanning or the. I mean, like Oddworld is cool conceptually, but I don't know. That doesn't seem like a game you. This is another one that it's like we know it's
to, like show 3 times.
Yeah, that was a lot of the like I can't believe they didn't show anything for Ratchet. That is like mind blowing to me that there was nothing for Ratchet and Horizon and God of War. I am not that surprised at because those games are 2022 games at the earliest.
Right.
Apparently they're confident about Horizon being 2021, but not so much.
I don't know about that.
I don't think so.
I mean,
Horizon,
we'll see.
Horizon. Yeah. It's been longer since they made Horizon Zero Dawn, but Guerrilla has been.
Yeah, I mean,
they've been so
out right before the Switch came out, so
it's been a long time. But Guerrilla has been so busy. They work with so many other they worked with Koji Pro and like they do a lot of stuff for Worldwide Studios generally, and I just feel like we would have seen something about it at this thing. But
I mean, I felt the same way.
I feel like Ratchet and Clank's the biggest surprise though, because
I think that is
released on June. No, it's June 2021.
Yeah, I think it'll slip to probably like August or September. But I mean, I would expect that game to come out this year for sure.
If they don't, then they don't have any first party stuff, and like this event had no first party stuff.
Well, Returnal, I thought that
did they own Housemarque?
I thought they did. I heard somebody on a podcast refer to Housemarque as an indie studio, but I think that they're owned by Sony. That game is definitely a Sony. They said in the thing that it was a Sony Studios game.
They could be like published by Sony Studios.
I guess I don't. Housemarque isn't owned by them, but Sony is totally publishing that game though. So I guess it's like second party, not first party.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. It's
No, wait. Returnal coming to PS5 from Housemarque, now part of PlayStation Production. So maybe. Oh no, it's Returnal. That's not Housemarque. Yeah, no, that is Housemarque. Okay,
yeah. Returnal's Housemarque. Yeah. It's published by Sony Video or Sony Interactive Entertainment.
Yeah.
So I think it's second party though. I don't think it's. Man, some of the enemy designs in Returnal are fucking cool. Anyway.
We're getting in the weeds.
Yeah.
Let's see. Anything else? Oh yeah, new Oddworld. I always want to say Oddworld New and Tasty. I've never played an Oddworld game except a little bit of Stranger's Wrath, but New and Tasty is just like a good name, I guess. But Oddworld Soulstorm is going to be part of PS Plus when it launches, so you can get it for no extra charge.
I think Oddworld has such a specific fan base that's good because there's no way in hell I would have played that game if I had to buy it. But I might download it and install it if it's on PS Plus.
That is, I would have paid like maybe $20 to play that.
It should be worth that too. Again, I don't mean to sound so down on the Oddworld series.
I've never played it, but like it's like a cult hit, kind of cult classic kind of. I've never like engaged with like the Abe's Odyssey type stuff. So it'll be
Stranger's Wrath is the one that I actually would purchase again and play on PS5 because I do like Stranger's Wrath a lot, but it's very different from all the other ones because it's a shooter.
Yes. Knockout City, y'all like dodgeball?
God.
Exactly.
That's one of those games that they should just. I mean, maybe it could be really fun, but I don't want to. It's who wants to watch the trailers for that game?
Yeah. I don't need that. But what I do need is quality of life. I need Yuffie.
I was going to say, is your quality of life, which is improved by more Final Fantasy VII Remake releases?
Yes. More Final Fantasy VII Remake content and updates for the PlayStation 5, which are free if you own the game, not via PlayStation Plus, like will be available in March. So yeah, they finally revealed that plans for a PlayStation 5 update to Final Fantasy VII Remake called Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade, and they are also including on the PS5 version DLC, a new chapter featuring Yuffie, Kisuragi, not Kitsu, it's Kisu.
Yeah. Oh, sorry.
She's the playable character, and there's some other guy there.
Yeah, he's playable too. I think you
Yeah,
can switch to him.
because that's the way the game works. So.
Yeah. I gotta say, I'm sorry. I don't mean to pick on Sam. And I did you buy the FF7R, Allison, last year? I can't remember.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm not talking about people who purchased it last year and have been waiting to play it for whatever reason.
Mm-hmm.
Who on earth was like, I'm not going to buy Final Fantasy VII Remake because they're going to do a PS5 update for it eventually, and I want to wait for that. I just think it's so weird that
I'm pretty sure that's Sam.
And I'm sure I think
Sam was playing it, but then like he had some like weird save stuff when he got his PS5. But he should have just played it when I told him to play it.
Exactly. That's
yeah, but I think he is waiting for the update.
Well, now he is. Yeah. It's just like I don't. That game is really good. You should just play it if you've been like the. I guess this is partly because like people are upset about the PS5 or the PS Plus version not being updatable to PS5,
which is like, well, fuck
just
off.
Play it.
Like you're getting the game for free, in a subscription you're already paying for. Like it's a good game either way. There's no problems with that game. They patched that game once. They patched that game.
That's what I'm getting at. Is it's just like
and
it
was
been
like
there.
months after release.
It's one of the best games of last year. Just play it. That's what I'm trying to get at. It's like I don't understand who was waiting to play that game. It seems like the kind of thing that either you were really excited about it or you weren't, and you're still not.
The only the legitimate complaint I can see is that the Yuffie DLC, as far as I've been able to ascertain, is not available on the PS4.
That sucks. That's unfortunate.
Yeah, so that's a bummer. But like, hey. It's a good game, even without that DLC. And you can buy it separately when you get a PS5.
I'm willing
to choose to go that route.
Man, I just had like a bolt from the blue realization. What if the reason they never called it Final Fantasy Remake Part 1 is because that they're just going to do these chapters every like 6 months as add-ons to the PS5 version of Final Fantasy VII Remake.
Oh God! Well, they did announce like the new director is like.
I'm sure that's not true, but
Part 1, the director for Part 2 was the co-director on Part 1, but there were like 3 directors on Part 1, so I'm not sure which one it is. But
I'm sure what I just said is not the way it is, but that would be
that
very
would be
funny.
That would be very funny. But also. Yeah, and then your hard drive will not only not be able to handle Call of Duty, it will not be able to handle Final Fantasy VII. You'll be able to have that game and that game only.
What if you could expand it?
Coming this summer to the PlayStation 5, expandable storage.
Cool.
Will finally be activated, usable.
Did they talk about pricing for?
I don't think they. I don't. Well, there is no proprietary storage. It's just like an NVMe drive, like a U.2.
I was hoping maybe they would put out some kind of.
I mean, maybe they will, but like it's just you can just buy an off-the-shelf drive and put it in.
Yeah.
So and it looks
which is better. I mean,
yeah. So that there will definitely be like a Sony PlayStation branded drive you can buy, and someone will definitely do a write-up on all the best drives to buy. So I'd wait for that.
Oh, yeah.
Like, don't go out and buy a drive now. There's definitely going to be a shortage of them when that comes out. But, like, I haven't had an issue with storage yet. I haven't had to delete anything.
No, me neither. The thing, PS5 games are so small that, like, that they fit. And also, there's not that many of them, which is probably part of it too.
But, I mean, even with like a couple PS4 games, like and like updated stuff, like I've got Neo 2, I've got Dark Souls 3, Dark Souls 2. I think I've got Control installed. I've got Bloodborne.
Yep, I have about that much.
Like I've
stuff
got a lot
too.
of stuff,
and I still I've only used like half the storage, something like that.
Yeah, so I don't know who these people are. Like I have to delete my games.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess if you're playing Call of Duty, Modern Warfare, and Warzone, and Black Ops all at the same time, maybe you could delete some stuff.
You could delete Warzone now because now there's a new battle royale app coming that is obsoletes.
Yeah. You can play
Warzone.
anywhere.
Exactly.
You can be Final Fantasy VII, the first soldier.
This is the dumbest video game
Everyone
idea I think I've ever heard in my life.
Everyone was so excited. They thought this was going to be like a Sephiroth game.
Or a Crisis Core. I kept hearing a Crisis Core remake, which would make so much sense because you play as Zack in Crisis Core.
No, it's fucking battle royale.
You can play as Zack in First Soldier, which is it's a mobile battle royale.
Which is like, just twist the knife. It's not even... I mean, I don't fucking care. I'm not going to play this game, but like...
That's hilarious.
They came out like after the state of play, and Square was like, "That's not all. We've also got First Soldier." And I was like, "All right, what? Are you kidding? Are you kidding me?" So you can gank noobs in the church where Cloud and Aerith.
That's just like... That makes me more upset than Ripley and the Xenomorph, which I bought in Fortnite. It also looks terrible. The First Soldier game, I mean.
I have not.
I watched gameplay of it. It looks awful.
There's a clip in Final Fantasy VII Remake of like Zack and Cloud, I guess, and I don't remember the exact clip, but someone put Victory Royale over like Zack's like corpse and like Cloud over it.
Yes. Oh, so, that sucks. Hopefully there's no story in it whatsoever and you can just not touch it.
Well, also they announced some sort of like Final Fantasy VII mobile thing, which is supposed to tell the entire Final Fantasy VII saga in like Dirge of Cerberus, Advent Children, original Final Fantasy VII. It's a mobile game and it's Nomura, so there's gonna be story in there, new story.
Nomura's not directing. Is Nomura directing the remakes?
He is involved in the. He's involved in this. That is the. Let's see. Final Fantasy VII remake Nomura. Let's see. He's no longer directing Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 2. He's focusing on other projects,
such as the mobile app that combines the story of all the games.
Yeah,
I mean, they also shut down. They're shutting down the Kingdom Hearts one too.
He could be handling like kind of the greater direction of the the
Final Fantasy Nova Crystallis saga. No, I think what this means is he must be doing Kingdom Hearts stuff, right? Which is exactly what I want from him. The perfect place for him to deploy his talents.
No, so explaining the reason behind stepping down, Nomura said that handing duties off to Hamaguchi was due to him working on an unprecedented number of projects in relation to Final Fantasy.
Kingdom Hearts is in relation to Final Fantasy.
That is true.
Put Star Wars and Kingdom Hearts.
I myself will be involved as a creative director comprehensively in relation to FF7, including remakes and mobile works.
I'm sure
he is behind this mobile game.
I'm sure that it's like Jeff Bezos stepping down as CEO, where Nomura still can have anything that he wants.
He's just
in those games.
He is like becoming like full on puppet master. He is going to reach out to like the Avengers game, and he's going to put Cloud in the Avengers.
That's what I was going to say. Is like I bet he could say like, "Hey, Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 2. What if we put Sora in that?" And they have to do it.
I was like, I could see like somehow Kingdom Hearts coming into this, like Sora showing up in, like totally, it could happen. I believe it.
I would shit my pants if that happened. Not necessarily in excitement, but in like, what the fuck are we doing?
Yeah, no, exactly. I think Disney is the problem there, which is unfortunate, but
I think you could just say Disney is the problem.
Yeah,
full stop. In most
end of statement.
In most cases.
True. Anyway, anything? What else? More Sony news. More Sony games coming to PC. Days Gone is their next one.
I want to play that on PS5. That game is
later
this
year. Son of a bitch.
Promise to ride me like you ride your motorcycle. Can be enjoyed by PC gamers the world over.
Oh man, imagine the PC mods. Like they can You can mod Norman Reedus, and then Norman Reedus can be the hog you crank.
Yes, that's what I want. You ride Norman Reedus. Make Norman Reedus. Put the Norman Reedus in the wedding dress. That's what I want. And then make Norman Reedus the motorcycle. Like Bionic Commando, except it's Norman Reedus in your motorcycle. Really though, the bike riding in that game is really fun, and the melee combat's pretty good. It's a decent game. It just has a atrocious dialogue.
Apparently Jim Ryan was quoted as saying they tracked how mad PlayStation gamers were made by, or how upset they were when Horizon Zero Dawn came to the PC. And all I could think of was that guy who posted the video of his smashed PlayStation when that happened, when they announced that. That's like, and he smashed that PlayStation for nothing. The gamers weren't upset.
So ridiculous. I do like that. If the quote that I saw was very apathetic, it was like, well, there's no reason not to put these games out on PC, so we're gonna do it. And honestly, more of that energy, please, because that's absolutely true.
Yeah, that's accurate.
Yeah, I don't think like every game is going to do this, but I guess Days Gone did really well for them though.
It made a lot of money. It was really fans loved it too.
Yeah,
the gamers embraced Days Gone pretty aggressively.
So I can't imagine what they're doing to their PlayStations now with this news. So look forward to more PlayStation games on PC.
I hope that they allow them IO to put Hitman VR on PC, because I would like to try that.
Yeah, I would. And
not
Resident Evil
VR.
Resident Evil 7 VR.
I'm not playing. I am much better at playing horror games now. I am not playing that in VR. No, thank you.
Well, speaking of VR, they also announced that a PlayStation VR 2 will happen eventually. They're in like development of the headset and like the controllers, and it sounds like it'll be better than the PlayStation VR currently is, which is not hard.
No, I just
like
none of this is
having
very
dedicated VR controllers. They're not retrofitting the Move controllers again or anything like that. One cable solution, probably just USB-C right into your console, so it'll be easier to like put away. Hopefully,
yeah, because the setup of PSVR kind of sucks.
They don't say USB-C, but I assume it's USB-C because
the setup of
future.
That's one thing that people who picked up a PSVR, you get the same experience on PC VR, which is that the setup sucks. The setup of VR always sucks. That is the two problems with VR is the price point is always too high and the setup is a nightmare.
Well, the space too.
Yeah, I think that's pretty negligible, really.
I mean, it depends on your space, but like,
there's so many games.
Like, for me, it became a thing where I'm like, with the games I want to play, like if I'm going to play a game in VR, I probably want to play a game that like requires moving around.
Sure, like, and that's fair, but I think there's enough games that you can play seated that are really fun that way. Like I played Half-Life Alyx mostly standing in place or seated, and that was amazing. So yeah, I don't know. It's just that the setup sucks. It's even I have an Oculus Quest, which is like the simplest thing, and yet still it's a pain in the ass.
Maintaining stuff and whatnot is
and you play it I play it like once every 3 months or so, and whenever I turn it on, it's like, well, the battery's dead. I forgot to plug it in and charge it, and then it needs an update, and it's really finicky about how it updates, and all the controllers need firmware updates, and you got to put new batteries in the controllers because they don't have rechargeable batteries, and like now you want to download it's all just a pain in the ass. So if Sony can solve that problem, then
I mean, you're still gonna have the whole gotta make room, because most people are probably playing in their like living room, their like couch TV space, so then you've probably got like a coffee table and stuff like that. But one cable is nice, and then if they have like dedicated VR controllers that like they can actually do some stuff, they could probably get like a wider range of games coming there from
absolutely
PC.
I think it's got to be the kind of situation where my feeling is it has to have inside out tracking.
I mean, they put out the PlayStation camera, but that doesn't have like stereoscopic camera stuff. So
yeah,
like that's good for like, that camera can like for streaming, like it can do like
yeah.
background replacement stuff, but like it's not set up for VR. So if they like have to sell people a second camera, like that would be pretty shitty.
Yeah, I think it's got to be inside out tracking, and I think that the controllers have got to be like tracked by the headset the way that it works with like the Quest or whatever.
Yeah, like that stuff is pretty good at this point, so there's no reason that they shouldn't go that direction.
Yep. And presumably they won't need a separate processing box like the first one had, because
the
PS5
whole
should be
setup with that was really annoying. So if they can make it nicer,
and it's one cable too, so they don't have to do like you couldn't do like USB to like regular USB A to VR before.
No, USB-C will work though. That's what the Oculus Link
is. They needed that breakout box to like, so you could still use it on TV and like do
it's
everything.
As much signal processing as anything, But yeah, I mean, it'll be hopefully a single USB-C cable. That'll be a lot easier. If the headset, one big thing with VR that is true for people with long hair is it can be really uncomfortable and not sit right and sort of slide around. So if they can come up with some kind of solution to make it comfortable and work well with long hair, that would be great. So that you don't necessarily have to put your hair up in a specific way every time to play VR.
Sure.
But yeah, I don't know. These are little things, but they all add up to the feeling of I'm just going to play something not in VR. So I don't have to deal with this.
Well, speaking of games not in VR, you won't be playing Gran Turismo 7 in 2021.
I'm okay with that.
It's been delayed into 2022. I want to know what they do with the DualSense.
Oh, it'll be play Destruction All Stars, because I bet you get
I did not notice any DualSense when I played the little bit of it.
Oh, there's tons of it in there. Tons of it.
I only played like the tutorial, but one of the like the first like single player.
The triggers are super adaptive to like the where you're at in like the revving of the engine, so it like changes the resistance based on like where you are, and it'll like pulse them a little bit sometimes when you change gears. I
was trying to like feel for that because I remember you mentioning it, and I was like, I'm not getting any of that here.
Weird. Yeah. I wonder if it was off for some reason.
Maybe I don't
and the
know.
the brakes are really heavy.
Or if it was there, it just didn't feel like noticeable enough. Like it was like, but like I would like to see what they do with like the car stuff in Gran Turismo 7, because like that's like a driving game, and like like the real like getting more like realistic feedback as opposed to like the arcadey stuff in Destruction All Stars, which if it's good, it's good, but I'd like to see what they do with like a real
the tough
game.
Thing with driving simulators, and why it'll be interesting to see what they do with the triggers, but the problem with serious driving sims is a stick doesn't provide enough range of motion for precise steering.
Sure.
That is the reason why people say you got to buy a racing wheel, is because you need it to be able to steer more precisely. And I don't see how they would solve that with a DualSense. So it'll be interesting to see if they come up with some kind of solution.
I don't think that you can use the gyro controls to augment your steering. No, I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't think they're going to solve that. But for most people, do not use a racing wheel.
Most people are playing the game incorrectly, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I don't care about that stuff. I don't got the space. Maybe someday.
I know that's my problem too right now. I don't actually have a racing wheel currently for that very reason.
But speaking of PlayStation and cars, a Twisted Metal TV series is currently in the works from the Deadpool writer.
No, I'm not saying you shouldn't have put it in the news.
I know.
I'm just saying,
I know.
More broadly,
I was shocked to see this news. Like, I don't even.
Allison, how much do you love Twisted Metal and Deadpool?
Sweet Tooth is basically Deadpool.
No, that's not true.
Who is that more offensive to?
I don't know. I'm trying to work that out in my brain.
So I am sorry to both fans of Sweet Tooth and Deadpool.
I'm not. Get
Yeah.
help.
So that's. Oh, yeah. And a little bit of sad news and disappointing news out of Sony. It sounds like Japan Studio is winding down. Japan Studio behind such hits as Ape Escape and a lot of
Eco,
other Eco.
Shadow of the
They
Colossus,
produced and worked on Bloodborne.
Last Guardian.
Yeah, so that studio is apparently being shut down. A lot of the people are being absorbed into like the Astrobot team and
That's good.
some other
That's good to
other
hear.
teams, but still, like they're just like the games don't sell well enough, I believe, or I don't know if there's been any
Unfortunately,
official.
They
like,
also take
statement on it. I don't think it's even official yet.
They take so long to make them, and
Yeah.
I can see it being difficult to pour the resources into. I mean, in my perfect world, it wouldn't matter. They could take as long as they wanted to make every game. But you know, when a game takes 10 years to make, if you're not, if it doesn't sell really well, it is hard to justify doing it again.
Yeah. I mean, you look at Days Gone, and that game took like ages for them to put out.
But then it sold really well.
Yeah, it sold really well. Yeah. So.
And that's why I think it's tough. And frankly, I think it's always sad to hear about sunsetting studios like this. But Last Guardian was a pretty mixed bag, as well. So maybe some fresh, like, projects for some of the folks on those teams who are on that team who are clearly extremely talented would like bring a lot of like new ideas to different parts of Sony's portfolio of studios.
Sure. Yeah, so that is gonna do it. Let me check this news story one last time. Localization and business staff will remain in place, and Asobi team, the group responsible for Astrobot, will continue as a standalone studio within Sony Japan. Okay, some Japan studio staff will join Asobi. We were told, while others have followed Silent Hill and Gravity Rush director Keiichiro Toyama, who left Japan studio last year to his new studio, Bokeh.
Yeah, that's cool. Gravity Rush rules. Make a new Gravity Rush for PS5.
Well, they can't because the studio is closed.
I mean,
Sony did confirm Japan studio will be absorbed into Team Asobi. So
cool.
Yeah,
just have Asobi then make a new Gravity Rush. They make platformers. Yeah. You know what I should do is just play Gravity Rush 2 because I didn't do that.
Sure. Yeah. Knack. They also made Knack, so no more Knack games.
Oh.
That's not true. There's going to be another Knack someday.
I mean, Knack has to be back.
Yeah.
If Mark Cerny has to program it himself, Knack will be back.
Yes, I'm sure it will.
Knack's back, Jack.
Jack Black should play Knack. Jack Black's Knack.
Does he play both Knacks?
Yes.
Yes.
Absolutely. Why would you ask me that question?
I guess make them different colors, no problem.
What? You don't even need to do that.
Okay, fine. Is one a girl Knack? I didn't play Knack 2. I didn't play Knack 1. I don't know.
They're just different sizes, I thought.
No, I thought they're different colors.
Oh.
There's like in Knack 2, there's 2 Knacks. So Knack 1
I don't know.
There's 2 Knacks.
I don't know.
Co-op.
Let me tell you the extent of what I know about Knack. You get big, you pick shit up, you get big, you get hit by shit, you go small again. That's what I know about Knack. Also, you can punch things.
Particles.
I just know that Knack's back.
It's not yet.
He died on the way back to his home planet.
He got on his X-Wing and died.
No, that's they said that after Knack 1. They said Knack died on the way back to his planet or something.
How'd they make a sequel then?
I don't know. I don't
boy.
know. God. Now I gotta find this.
So I just Googled Knack's back, and there's people also ask, is Knack 3 coming out? Is Knack 2 a good game? What is the game Knack? And then the last question is, how big can Knack get? And something about that made me laugh.
Now that's the question we need answered. Is this like a Katamari Damacy situation where Knack can like just keep growing and become as large as whole galaxies?
I mean, we got to find out in Act 3.
I could have sworn there was a. I can't find the story because it just brings up stuff about the
Also,
band the Knack.
How
so...
good would a new Katamari Damacy be on PS5 with the
Oh my
DualSense?
god!
Please!
Oh,
my
that's
god.
gotta happen. I hadn't even thought about that. That would be.
You don't give me hope, Pat.
There's nothing to hope for at this point, but you could
I
start.
know.
What if the idea was like you could start as like a microscopic?
It was just. It was
organism.
everything. It was
Yeah.
Everything. Oh my
No,
god.
that would be awesome. You start as like a microscopic organism, and then you can slowly get bigger and like.
And you kill God.
Yeah. I mean, you do that, don't you?
You
Katamari.
Do you roll up the King of all Cosmos in Katamari?
Oh, I don't know if you do it. Like, definitely not in the first one, but who knows in
Anyway.
sequels.
They should make a new Katamari.
They should.
Well,
No, those
you know
games
what they
are good.
making? They're making a new Pokemon.
Oh man, it looks
That's always true.
fine. Yeah.
There's
Well,
always
okay.
a new Pokemon in development.
There's multiple new Pokemon.
There's always multiple new Pokemon.
I know, but it's good.
They have a whole company.
Yeah.
So this time they is Ilka, is that what is who was contracted, this is not from the Pokemon company, is making Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl remakes of Gen 4.
Yeah, which is I think one of the few times where people have been yelling about things. Huh?
They did Alpha. Oh, I was just like, they did Alpha.
Yeah,
Ruby,
they did Gen
Sapphire,
3.
I guess. So they did that. Okay, that's fair.
Yeah,
But
but
those are
people
on
have been
Switch.
yelling about Gen 4 remakes on
they're
Twitter
not.
forever. So like this was like before this video, everybody was like, maybe this will be the Gen 4 remake, and then it actually happened and people were happy.
I also saw
but-
people mad about it. So like,
There's always
Oh!
Pokemon fans that are always mad about.
Yeah, I mean that's
anything
kind
they
of
do.
Pokemon.
the Pokemon fans are upset.
Yes.
Well, I think notably is that the art style is very like kind of like a chibi art style, which I think is fine, but like a lot of people don't like. But at the same time, I've seen people post some of the roots from Gen 4 and are like, how would you even do this in a non like, you know, in kind of like a Sword and Shield kind of.
What?
I mean, I expected more like a Let's Go, like
Yeah.
it's you know, it's still like the top down like traditional like Pokemon style from like the older games, but it's more 3D-ified
It's
and like
3D and like kind of
That's-
chibi and cute, but like
That's-
yeah.
That's what really surprises me is, and I'm not even negative about this. I think this is cool. But that's what really surprises me about Nintendo and the way that, and the Pokemon Company, the way that they're treating this stuff is, to me, it seems like the thing that makes the most sense is we're going to do up-reses of the original games with some new pixel art to make them all look really fucking good and crisp and like beautiful, lots of color in, but generally the same as the original art styles. And then you can pump those out every like year or two so that all of Pokemon, so that if someone owns a Switch, they can buy every Pokemon game. I
mean, that's the dream.
why,
like,
why
let's
would
be
they
honest,
do it that
but,
way? Instead, they did Let's Go,
not
which
how
was
they're doing
cool.
it.
Let's Go
I mean,
was
I
very
like
cool.
Let's Go, but like,
and they could have done more Let's Goes through the generations, but instead, it's like a, I don't know.
well, they
I think it looks good. Like
Yeah,
I
this
like
looks
the look
fine.
of Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, and I like from what I like I've said, from what I've seen about some of the roots, like I'm kind of glad that they're doing
Yeah.
the top down, but like
Sure.
redone.
But I mean, yeah, they could have done like I never expected them to do like a full 3D game, which we'll get to in a minute. But I never expected them to do like a Sword Shield style remake for any of these games. Like I
And
expected
honestly,
another Let's
yeah.
Go type game, which this kind of is, but like it's a little bit. It's more traditional. Like it's got the traditional combat and stuff. It's not like the Let's Go like streamlined stuff.
Well, Let's Go has traditional combat too. It's just not in the catching.
It's just not in
Okay,
catching
okay.
Pokemon.
So,
The trainer
yeah,
battles
maybe
are the same
they-
as the identical
Okay.
Yeah.
to the
Yeah,
Yeah, it's just that you can catch like a lot more Pokemon,
Mhm.
and
That's-
it's just the Go style, which like was annoying for everything except, well, not annoying. I thought it was fine, and then when you got to shiny hunting, that's when it was the best, because that's still the only game I've gotten shinies in is in Let's Go.
Yeah. I don't know. I think that I liked Let's
I'm
Go.
not bitter about it, but I am.
I like Let's Go specifically because I was like, I play a lot of games now. I like Pokemon because I have a nostalgic, like, I enjoy Pokemon, but I don't necessarily need the identical experience to what I had when I was a child. And so having the strategic battles there to play alongside catching them in a much more simplified manner was like, this makes sense. Also, it makes more sense, like, narratively, the way that the catching works in that game. It doesn't make as much sense that, like, everyone, to get their Pokemon, they're beating their Pokemon until they're almost like they almost pass out, and then
you're like
throwing a ball at them.
Assert your dominance.
That's like fucked up. It's better to say that they actually
tell
it's
you
just
about
an accurate
Pokemon.
throw.
And that you're just throwing like 20 Pokeballs, and you're like, fine. They're like, fine, fuck it.
Yes,
they made a
That's
game for
much-
you, it seems. So
much
we'll get to that.
Anyway,
Yeah, but
they
I
did
mean,
not, but we will get to that.
It's one of those things though where I know that a lot of people have been waiting for these because I know that like Diamond and Pearl are beloved, but they're also from what I understand, like they're beloved and flawed from what I remember too. Like I did play them, but there is like an element of original Diamond and Pearl being really slow, I think, if I can remember correctly.
But I believe
it's been a long time since I played those games.
The story in those games is the last time I really liked a story in a Pokemon game, for sure.
Not even like Black and White, but
I think I just didn't play through Black and White.
Okay.
Because I've heard that people love that one too, but I think I just don't think I got through Black and White enough to play it. But yeah, I mean,
that would be a good one to have a remake or bring back, because I think that's an interesting game.
The thing, as a lapsed Pokemon fan, I would buy every single Pokemon game if they just made them, like I was saying before, like if they just made all the gens available in some playable form. Doesn't have to be a fancy remake, because it would be nice to be able to say like, oh, I'm going to play Pokemon for a half hour, and I know that I'm getting Pokemon on my Switch that I can put into my bank, and that's where all my Pokemon live. But I'm not going to pull out various different, if I'm going to play, frankly, because I've purchased all those games in the past, if I'm going to go, I want to play Gen 3, I'm just going to do it on my PC on an emulator.
Like, I mean, we're getting to the point where it's like everything is spread so far out, and like the Gen 2 remakes exist and are, in my opinion, the best Pokemon games ever made.
I agree with you, yeah.
They still don't let the Pokemon follow me in these other games. It's like, what the fuck are you doing? Get out of here.
You can
take this garbage out of here.
Spots in Sword and
but
Shield.
only the one Pokemon, right? Or no, do any of them follow you in Let's Go?
You can pick any of them follow you in Let's Go. You can take any of them out of the Pokeball and walk around with you. Let's Go is really good.
And
they should have just did more.
Let's Go, you get to like ride the big ones too. And
yeah,
it's very
more. I've played that one. I've played the red and blue so much. Like it's
yeah.
Like,
it's
that,
like when they remade that, I was like, but I thought Let's Go is really fantastic,
so
and yeah, you get to ride all of your big Pokemon, including the ones where they fly, so you're flying around on your Charizard.
You get to ride them like you ride your hog.
Oh,
crank them,
no.
please.
But like these remakes are coming so slowly that the Gen 2 remake was like DS.
Yes.
So I mean, and it's like, I still have my 3DS, but at the same time, it's like it would be really nice if you could just bring these to the Switch. Let me play my Pokemon games. Let me play the best Pokemon game that's ever been made on a current console.
It's also a problem of, this is Nintendo's issue, right? Is like every Nintendo game should just be available on whatever their most recent console is, because they have the most rich history of like first-party software development of any game hardware manufacturer. So what the fuck? Why not?
Around since like for so long.
Yeah.
And like I think that having the NES and SNES games for free is good, but at the same time, it's like, why not also just have
they're so close. But
like have either everything or even still have a virtual console. I don't know.
What's so funny is if they said, there's so many fans and fan projects that if they were like, we would love to put GBA games on the Switch, but it's too hard, fans would be like, look, I got you, fam. We got emulators. Just take them. You've already ripped off our emulators for games in the past.
People have emulated it, everything to fucking.
The work has been done.
The work has been done.
Just put it on the Switch for fuck's sake. Anyway, sorry, Andre, I cut you off.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say I appreciate that, like, Pokemon Company has moved on from the, okay, we're making the one game, or we're making the 2 games, and then the next year we'll release the one game that's like the definitive edition kind of thing, like, you know, the Yellow, or the, like, Yellow at least did like some interesting stuff with like Pikachu and whatnot, or like Crystal or Emerald or whatever. Now they're like, okay, we're doing like distinct games each year. If they're going to do a yearly release, it's like, even if it's a remake, it's something new.
As a person, as a person who wishes that I was into Pokemon more, that I'll tell you, like, it was one thing when it was like, oh, we're going to do the 3rd game. But with Sun and Moon, when it was like, no, we're going to do an Ultra Sun and an Ultra Moon, that's when I was like, you know what, fuck off. This is bullshit. I don't give a shit.
That was too much. That was too much.
And even in those Ultimate games, you still couldn't catch all the Pokemon.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So
like, no, not in Ultra Sun, but like even in like Emerald or Crystal.
Yeah. But I think it felt more like, well, even if I can't catch them all, this is like the definitive way to play this generation.
I can get all the legendaries. I can get Groudon and Kyogre, whatever.
You can get Groudon, all right.
And Rayquaza, like, you can get all the, you can get all the legendaries or whatever. I can get Ho-Oh and Lugia, and they're both good. That stuff.
Yeah, but I think that it's good that they're moving past that, and I know that people were frustrated about the move to DLC, but I think it makes sense. And also, the DLC has a fair amount of content too.
Yeah,
is the thing, as opposed to being like, hey, we have this additional
like
thing that nobody gives a shit about.
Trading is the implementation is terrible in like Sword and Shield from what I used, but it's like, it's easier than ever to trade with people. Like, there's no like,
and what's nice,
Sword and Shield and Let's Go are the only times I've ever completed a Pokedex, because it's like, getting, talking to like Pat, like talking to Pat and being like, hey, will you trade me this, and this, please? Or I'm trying to deal with this, and like it's like, the easiest it's ever been.
They used to have like trading towers where you go and you set up like, hey, I've got this, I want to trade for this, and then like just you wait until someone trades it, and you don't have to be there or like do anything. It just happens.
You can still do it on the app, but it's on the app.
I'm not shitting on. I'm not trying to shit on Sword and Shield when I say this, but like I do think that the DS is like, or the the gens where the DS had online capabilities are probably the best in terms of like those games as a service, and that's one of the disappointing things to me about Sword and Shield is that that was a step backwards. Like, I think Gen 2 is the best. That's my favorite for like 100%. The Pokemon selection and the story and the
and then you go back to Kanto and you're like, what the fuck?
Yes, that was like one of the coolest things is
that moment when you're in when I was a kid playing that, and you're just like, holy shit, we're back.
Where do you think Miyazaki got the ideas for Dark Souls 3, Pat?
Apparently, yeah. Kingdom Hearts, that's where he got them.
Where do you think Honor Orlando came from? Miyazaki, did you know Miyazaki programmed Honor Orlando into the game himself to make it fit on one disc? Well, they are making a new Pokemon game that is not Legends. These remakes. Pokemon Legends Arceus, to go along with Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. This is an old-timey, like, ancient, like,
not
before,
ancient, but like colonial Japan, basically.
Like,
feudal Japan.
Yeah.
Where you, like, before
the Pokeballs are made of wood.
Modern, basically, but have like latches on them instead of like. How does that shit? Is it magic? Like, cause like they use like digital shit to like capture it, but this is literally just like a little latch.
The Pokemon decides to get small.
Yeah, I just don't even understand. It's like in Knockout City when you can curl up into a ball and be thrown by the your teammate. It's the same thing with the Pokemon here.
I'm just impressed that you found a way to reference Knockout City again.
Yep. That part, because that part of the trailer actually made me laugh when the guy like curled up into a ball and got thrown. That I was like, okay, that's silly, looks terrible. But
Allison, are you excited about Pokemon Legends?
So okay, it's complicated because
this game looks like
love
doo-doo.
Yes.
I love the idea of it.
Yes,
I
me
love
too.
the idea of historical Pokemon. I think the concepts involved are really neat. But you guys were saying like, oh, the frame rate's bad, and like I'm generally I'm a little bit more forgiving than
Sure.
like you guys.
That's fine.
So I'm like, okay, that's
play
fine.
games on the
And then I watched the footage, and I was like, oh no, this frame rate sucks.
And the game looks like shit. It doesn't look good either.
bad.
I mean, it
And
looks
it's
like Sword and Shield did in the
and I was like,
overworld.
and it was one of those things where I heard you guys say that, and I was like, okay, come on, please. And then I watched it, and I was like, oh no, that frame rate's
The
bad.
thing about
Oh
Sword
god.
and Shield is at least it has like cool buildings and shit. Like
yeah, and
Sword
it's
and
like
Shield
the
has some cool art design.
Yeah, like especially when you get to the first town in Sword and
Yeah.
Shield, and
Oh, that
and
part's
it's like this
awesome.
cute village, and you're
Yeah.
just like
The
going
rolling
down
hills
this
and
hill.
shit. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's the design is really good, even if the graphical fidelity isn't quite there. All we've seen so far is like a lot of the concepts, which I think is cool, but then also just like walking around the overworld, which looks mediocre, and then the frame rate is garbage, and you're just like.
I don't want to upset anyone, but like when I saw people saying like, look at how amazing this looks when they're running through the town, and it's like, that looks like a mobile MMO.
Yeah,
like it looks bad.
Like I said, I am a lot more forgiving, especially with like Pokemon. We've discussed this last week where I'm like, it's fine. But then I was looking at this and I was like there's a couple of things where I'm like, wait a minute, is that frame rate in like the single digits?
Yes.
Of like that Pokemon? And it's like you hope that
this game's like a year out or more.
Yeah, so I hope that they'll figure it out, and I hope that it'll be better because like I said, the concept is rad.
It's cool.
I don't think it's gonna be much better.
They don't get, in my opinion, they should not get that benefit of the doubt anymore, because we kept saying that about Sword and Shield
stuff.
Right. It's like it would be nice if it was better, but I don't know. And it's like the thing that makes me kind of like frustrated on like at least on my behalf is that I know that I'll buy it, which I'm like which is like frustrating because I'm like I know that I'm part of the problem, but at the same time,
people are going to be so mad at this game when it comes out because everyone's working themselves up into a tizzy, and it's the trailer's fault because they directly they draw on that Breath of the Wild, like, oh, we're gonna do the Breath of the Wild camera and like the zoom and pan and stuff, and like people are like, oh, it's like Breath of the Wild for Pokemon, like for Sword and Shield. No, it wasn't. And now people are like, oh, Breath of the Wild because of the camera angle specifically. It's like,
one, as a Breath of the Wild fan, play another video game. I'm begging you.
Yeah.
Big Boss Baby vibes from this.
Yes.
Yeah, that tweet.
But
is
two,
perfect.
like they're also the Blessing retweeted it, and it's true. They did literally use the same shot from a Breath of the Wild. The funny thing is, when you side by side those shots, Breath of the Wild, a game that came out in like 2016, it looks real beautiful. Good. That shot is gorgeous, and you look at the shot in this game, and it looks like shit.
It looks like let's be real, like almost GameCube ass, like,
and like the art design too.
GameCube had better frame rate.
Oh god.
If the art design, I probably wouldn't be able to put up with the frame rate, even if it had better art design, but I could understand people's excitement because I understand that I have a frame rate hang up, and I don't expect everyone to agree.
See, that's the thing. I don't, but then I watch this and I'm like, oh god, that looks so bad.
But also, the trees look like mostly the same, and they're like gray. I mean, the whole game looks like really like dark green and gray and brown. It's
right. Like, and that's the thing about Sword and Shield is that Sword and Shield doesn't look great a lot of the time, but the art design is often there.
Yeah, and it's colorful and
you go to certain places and you're like, all right, this is interesting, and you're going around different places, and there's even in the wild areas where people have made the most complaints about how it looks. Like there's the variety of biomes and everything, which
you
we
can
just
see the
really
cities
have
and stuff.
you can see the cities in the distance, and then you go over to the sand area, and then you go to this water area,
Yeah.
and it's like there's variety there. Where it's here, it's just like all that we've seen is this boring grassy plain, and then the town that looks like ass, and it's like, oh boy,
Well,
like.
And also, like, the one thing about this trailer that I was like, oh, that's kind of cool, is that the character's like throwing Pokeballs in almost like an action game looking thing
and like
to catch them.
stealthing, like doing the Ubisoft.
Yeah.
I'm gonna hide in the bushes.
That's cool. But then
That's a nice idea.
the combat looks like it's just Pokemon though. Like it's
Yeah.
just it looked like it was going to be like turn based, which is fine. Pokemon combat's good, but it's not different. You know, it's not like it's some kind of like new thing.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah,
It's
I don't know. It's like, yeah, like I like this was another one where it was happening while I was at work. So I was just seeing people talk about it, and I couldn't watch it in the video until later. So it was one of those things where I kept hearing people talking about it, and I was like, man, I don't know what people are complaining about. This sounds amazing. And then I watched the trailer, and I was like, oh.
I am glad they're like trying something new and like different.
Yeah.
Like you know, different time period,
Uh,
like kind of doing a more story focused thing, like building out the lore of the Pokemon world, because Arceus
back
is like the creator of the Pokemon world. So
they
just
I
literal
did see
god.
there's a lore tidbit at some point that says that in the past Pokemon and
Yes.
people got married because Pokemon and people were the same. So hopefully,
Mhm.
fingers crossed, this is the game.
Yes, something like I do, and I do
This is
too.
the game where you can romance your own Pokemon.
Let's
Oh,
marry
power imbalance
Pokemon.
there.
Only the ones that are like people, not like the ones that are like domesticated
Yeah,
animals.
but it's like if you can't have it be like that you like own them. That's not good. That's power, like a weird
No.
power.
Oh,
imbalance.
you're not wrong, but that's always been there with Pokemon.
I know, but like with Pokemon, if you're like, that adds like a whole new dimension.
Mr.
that's-
Fuji gets turned into a
All it
Pokemon
does-
in Red and Blue.
All that it does is it just gives you another lens through which to view the already fucked up stuff happening.
Is it Bill?
Yeah.
Bill
That's-
gets turned
That's
into a
why I
Pokemon?
think that maybe we should get a black and white remake, because it is very specifically
Yes,
that
that's true.
that they go and they're like, hey, maybe we shouldn't own Pokemon, and it's like, and you're playing against this team, and you're like, you kind of have a point.
Oh
hate to
well,
say it.
nevertheless.
Anywho, yeah, I think that Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl look fun. Legends Arceus looks. I think that Andre's comment in our notes is extremely accurate.
Yeah, they're writing checks their butt can't cash. Like they are asking for people to just like rip them a new one when this game comes out.
But they don't care because people will buy it. To Allison's point,
It's
That's the
true.
thing.
Yeah,
they
I'm
don't
part of the
fucking
problem.
care.
Like,
Which is even
I
worse.
think it's not fair to say that you're part of the problem. The Pokemon company is the problem because they put out junk that they know people will buy.
Mm,
But I would
but
say
when you
that
know
if,
it's junk, I don't
if
know,
people
like-
want them
I
to
mean,
not do that
I-
anymore, then the only solution under capitalism is to not purchase it. So
Well, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
like if it's, and I mean, it's like I am somebody who actively thinks Sword and Shield is just fine, and it's a perfectly fine Pokemon game, and it's like, so I don't regret buying it, and the Pokemon games that I buy are generally ones I enjoy, but if this is bad, I'll avoid it, but I'd like it to be good is the thing.
I would like it.
love
I
it to
would
be
like
good.
Pokemon to be good, but they just aren't doing the things that I think would make it good. So
yeah,
and then this like is a neat, again, it's a neat idea, and they just did a really terrible showing of it. The best thing I can say about it, outside of like, hey, it's new, is at least it was an honest trailer.
I mean, that's the thing. Like, on the one hand, it would have been nice to see it in better, in a better form. But at the same time, if this is what it is, at least they're showing what it is.
You
It's
know, there's
also-
not gonna be the puddles are gone.
it's also why I think that they don't have a Switch Pro anytime soon, because I think if
That's
they could
smart.
have promised a better looking and running experience, they would have shown a better looking and running trailer.
You would think, but
And then they could later say, well, it was running on a Switch Pro, and people would be
Mhm.
fine with that. They wouldn't give a shit.
well, I mean, no, they wouldn't, but yeah. Well, we just had Cyberpunk.
the
But yeah,
audience for Cyberpunk is so different than the Nintendo audience, though.
this is true.
So Nintendo fans would go, oh, okay, well, I guess I should buy a Switch Pro fan then. And I'm
Yeah,
not trying to be an
probably.
asshole. I'm not like,
Yeah, yeah.
That's fine if that's your response too. I'm not
Yeah.
saying one is more. I mean, it's certainly better
Yeah.
to do that than send death threats to developers. So
Yes.
Yeah,
100%.
but I feel like there's a
Well, they
there's a
killed
balance.
Pokemon, so
Maybe don't send death threats to developers, but
Yes.
also like expecting, like, if you buy a game for a system that they say it supports, it should be able to be played on that
I
system.
agree. I think that there's probably someplace in the middle between hardcore or Nintendo fans and hardcore Cyberpunk fans is.
And that's like the
There's a
happy medium.
That's the one place that I'm a centrist, is maybe somewhere in the middle of that spectrum.
Oh
wow.
gosh.
Well, we don't need to talk about this for a long time, but they showed more Pokemon Snap,
Which
and
I think looks fine, and you're getting less enthused about
well,
it.
so yeah, no, I just had this like come to Jesus moment where I was like, wait, okay, what is Pokemon Snap? It's just like an on rails, like you spend like 3 to 5 minutes. How many levels are in Pokemon Snap? Like
Not
the first
many.
one.
It's like
Not
4
many.
or something.
There's more than that.
Okay.
Snap, how many levels? There's like you unlock
Beach,
them.
tunnel, volcano, river, cave, valley, and rainbow cloud. So
there's
that's
more, but
like
it's
7. So,
Yeah.
and
You just
what
play
are
it
what
over and
maybe
over and over again.
yeah,
And there's different paths you can take, and there's different Pokemon that you can find. But I
there's
think
63 Pokemon.
yeah,
I just
I
so my problem here with Pokemon Snap now, like I was excited on the release, and now until I know more about this game, I don't think I can be excited because all I can think is there's gonna be like there's 10 levels in this. They're like maybe 10 minutes long, and it's gonna be like you see everything. I pay $60, I spend an hour with it, and then I've seen everything basically with the format that it's in, like the on rails, like drive, just follow around and like throw some apples or whatever, and take some pictures of Pokemon. And like obviously they're like, you have to experiment and try things and timing and all that, but like I think the on rails thing is the thing that kills it for me, where it's going to be the exact same. You're going to be taking the exact same pictures and that kind of like same angle, like you've got a set number of angles and positions that you can do, whereas now I'm just like, what if it was Umurangi generation but Pokemon is
Nope.
like
Be cool.
what I would be excited about.
I think like I'm still interested in picking it up, but I think that like this I mentioned this on the podcast before, but it's like that concept of like you really don't want like a direct sequel. You want something that makes you feel the way that the original made you feel at the time. And like Pokemon Snap, it did make a lot of kids really like, it was really interesting and really something that a lot of kids enjoyed, myself included. But looking back at it, like if they took if new Pokemon Snap is the exact same game as Pokemon Snap, just with like a new coat of paint, new Pokemon, that's not going to be something that most people necessarily need in the year of our Lord 2021.
Like if I want to take pictures of Pokemon, I got like an AR app on my phone that can let me take pictures of Pokemon.
I think that what'll probably happen is it'll be 8-ish levels that are on rails, and then there'll be a couple of free areas that are like takeoffs of the wild area where you can walk around and take pictures. I suspect, but I could be wrong. It could just be all on rails. But
if they haven't shown that yet, I don't think it's in there.
Maybe not. I don't know.
I'll play it, so we'll see.
The thing, I'm still into it because the thing about Pokemon Snap that I loved was, and this is why what they should do is make Hitman but for Pokemon, and that should be Pokemon Snap. Is as you went through the levels, it was impossible to see everything the first time through, simply because there's so much happening at all times. You can't always be looking in the direction where stuff is going on. And so I agree. I would rather it be a sort of thing where you can walk around at your own pace. But if they preserve the things happening and like, oh wait, if I give an apple to this Pokemon and then it drops it on this platform and then this Pokemon eats it, then that means that they evolve and then they do a move on another Pokemon and it opens up a little pathway, and then there's one I hadn't seen before behind there. That kind of stuff is what I liked about the original Pokemon Snap. So if they can keep that spirit alive, and to me it's more about that than taking the pictures, kind of. Is exploring the environments even though you're stuck on rails. I think a big thing that might help too is if they could let you change the speed of the car. If you could I can't remember if you could do that in the first game or not.
I think you could speed up a little bit and like maybe slow down a little bit, but it wasn't like significant.
Yeah, if you could like slow down, if there were like 4 speeds, that could be kind of cool too, because then you could just pass.
I think it was like 3,
yeah,
but maybe. Yeah, I would like to be excited about it, but now I'm like, I don't.
It's one of those games that I'm not excited about, but if it comes out and people are like, Pokemon fans are like, oh, I love it because it's Pokemon, and then like it's the general consensus is it's kind of but cool for Pokemon fans, I'll probably skip it. But if I think there's every possibility to come out and people could be like, oh my god, this is recapturing my childhood, this is so good, and then I'll probably get it.
If I can't go to Blockbuster, what's the point? If it's like $60 is like I think a little is like steep.
It is steep,
like on like on like for an on rails like photography thing, which is like if they had like if it was like a free roaming like the same kind of like interactions and stuff, but you're just like able to walk around and like take your time and like bask in the space, like that would be one thing. And even if it was like you unlock that later or something, that'd be fine. But
I do think it looks nice, at least.
yeah, that's why I want to spend time in that space. I want to spend time in that space. I don't want to spend time in their weird ass looking shitty open world looking game. So yeah, I'd put the team who's making Pokemon Snap on Pokemon Legends Arceus. Yeah, so that's it for Pokemon news. Post Malone covered Hootie and the Blowfish.
That's one of the funniest fucking things.
And did not, I only want to be with you, and did not say, I only want a Pikachu. Like,
That's not all he wants. He wants to catch them all.
But, like, it's right there.
I clicked that, and I didn't see what the song was in the corner of the video, and I was just listening to it, and I was like, there's no way that this is that song. And then when it became clear that that's what it was, I just laughed and laughed and laughed. Also, I think it's funny because a few years ago, people were telling me about how Post Malone is like the future of music and like a prodigy, and like, you know, also like super like serious hardcore rapper too, on top of being a multi-instrumentalist or whatever. And I always was just like, I don't know, I don't like that guy. It's fine if you do. I'm not. It's just a personal opinion. And then this happens, and now I kind of want to go back to all those people and be like, did you see musical prodigy Post Malone covering Hootie and the Blowfish for a Pokemon anniversary in your cards of him being the best artist of all time?
Who else could master like not even like the like Pokemon like the theme song from Pokemon, just like why I only want to be, it was that like, is that song 25 years old? Is that like the song's anniversary too?
I mean, I definitely listened to that song in the car in the backseat of my mom's Jeep Grand Cherokee while playing Pokemon Red, so I guess in some ways.
That song came out in 1994.
There you go.
So it's not. I guess it'd be. Yeah, I guess it could have been like popular that year. I guess.
Yeah.
God, this fucking.
There's.
Yeah. Okay. The video they did at the beginning was like going through all the weird like iterations and like tech and different ways you could engage with Pokemon over the years was fun and interesting. Made me a little nostalgic.
Bring back the Game Boy camera.
But it was so damn long. Bring back the Game Boy.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
The advanced one, Game Boy Advance. Bring back the Game Boy.
Yeah, bring
Advance.
back
fuck
Game Boy
that. I mean,
Advance.
bring them all back. I want that fat Game Boy back too.
I mean, I guess I've got space and like a
You
bag
could
or
kill.
something,
You
but,
could
like,
you could seriously injure someone with an original Game Boy.
I mean, the Game Boy Advance, like, play those games, like it'll do it. All right. Next up, we got a few more news stories, and we'll get out of here. I thought like, oh, we'll get through games quick, and then we talked about Ys for like 20 minutes, which I was not expecting.
It's a goldfish, like Sam always says. We'll always take 3 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you know what's not getting another 3 hours?
Anthem.
Is Anthem.
It's dead.
It's
Goodbye.
dead officially. Anthem Next. They did an audit last week or 2 weeks ago, something like that, and the executive team at EA decided, nope, we're cutting our losses with Anthem, and so that team, those 30 people, will be going on to Dragon Age or Mass Effect, because it's a bummer for me, the Anthem defender, who, like, that game had problems, but I thought if they had taken the time to, fix those problems, it could have been good. But the things I thought were problems were different from other people. And obviously, the executive teams went, this is not going to be worth it. So
It's because you thought there were good things about it.
yeah, there's more good in Anthem than there is in the Avengers game, but we don't need to litigate that.
We can't do it.
They made a better Iron Man than the Avengers game. They see they're all wearing masks, and
They made a better Iron Man.
Anthem.
You can fly around for 30 seconds at a time, unless you find a waterfall, and you don't get any of the cool other. You don't get any of the other cool shit.
It's so cool.
You don't get any of the other cool shit that Iron Man gets. You suck as your character sucks. You don't
magic.
talk.
I can do like ice magic. Well, I could now. The game.
You can't anymore.
Well, also part of this Anthem news is apparently, until somewhat recently, Dragon Age 4 was going to be a multiplayer game, but they have dropped the multiplayer aspect, and it is now a single-player RPG.
So people are celebrating this, and it's probably good, but also that means that they have to start over, basically. I mean, like,
I don't know how far along. I guess they've been working on it for a while. I mean, I imagine the story stuff is still in place.
so basically what I guess I get from it is if they're like, well, it was going to be a service game and now it's not anymore, a multiplayer service game and now it's not anymore. To me, that means that the multiplayer service stuff, either they had to basically start from scratch, or the multiplayer service stuff didn't fucking matter anyway.
I imagine they have to rework,
I'm
like,
imagining
the
it's more of the
gameplay.
latter.
I imagine like the gameplay loop they have to rework, but I'd imagine story and like gear type stuff, like assets are like there.
Yeah, sure. Art.
It's gonna be like it's gonna be like a gameplay.
I don't mean
design
start from
type
scratch
thing,
as in literally from scratch, but
but
it's just,
a gameplay loop will be.
if you took the multiplayer out of Destiny and said it's just single player now, it would be a completely different game.
Oh yeah, 100%.
It wouldn't even be
Yeah.
recognizable. So that's what I think is like.
I think this game
weird
is
to
still
me.
2 years out.
Oh, I think it's
It's-
at least.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would be
I mean, well, they've been
shocked if
teasing
came
it for
out,
like 2 years at
next
this point.
year.
Yeah,
Or
because
more.
they had to
Because
say that they
Inquisition
were
came
making
out
it.
forever
Yeah.
ago, but
They had to say that they were making it because Anthem came out and sucked, and so like
Yeah.
they didn't have anything. Like their whole content plans were thrown into disarray because I think initially it was going to be an Andromeda series, and then Andromeda was troubled, and then Anthem was
Yep.
going to be the BioWare savior, and then Anthem was bad. So they had
Yep.
to announce Dragon Age 4 because otherwise it was like, okay, what are you
Okay, then-
making?
BioWare's
Yep.
dead.
Mass
Yeah.
Effect's dead, and the truth and the answer is it's been dead all along. But like,
It's a husk. It's the Reapers got them.
Yeah.
Harvested them.
Yeah.
Well, and speaking of Mass Effect, Henry Cavill, The Witcher, the Superman, is teasing some sort of Mass Effect or BioWare project.
it's got to be a Netflix series.
Could be. He could be doing something like, could be like a super early tease for like a voice acting thing in the game. But he like, I don't know. They were teasing
see.
like Rex, Liara. I can't remember all the stuff, but
Someone said it was the Mass Effect 3 Wikipedia page was literally the document that he had in front of him. Which
yeah, we'll see.
I think he would be a really good Garrus in a live action thing.
I could see that.
And then who's our Lady Dimitrescu?
That's a big question.
Why am I blanking on her name?
I mean, Kate Blanchett is
Elizabeth
right there.
Debicki, who's tall.
Yeah.
I don't know who that is.
She's
Maybe if I saw
tall.
her. Okay. So
She's-
what-
she's
is there anything else I would know her from
Did you see
besides her height?
the Great Gatsby movie?
No.
Emma Watson.
Oh, she's been in a bunch of stuff too. But,
Yeah.
she was in Tenet. I haven't seen it yet,
Okay.
but
Okay. Oh, she's probably the one lady in Tenet. So. Okay.
Looks
I
like
see who you're
yes.
talking about.
Yeah.
Brie
Yes, I see
Larson.
who- Sure. Yeah.
I like her, and it would make people mad, so
Now-
I'm
now-
fine for all of that.
Now you've got me on board with the whole.
I think she could
yeah.
totally pull it off.
Yeah.
They'd have to make her a little bit CGI her a little bit bigger, but that's
Or
true
they'd
for
have to do
Just
everything.
like
a
the
little
weird
bit. Just a little
perspective
bit.
stuff, like in Lord of the Rings.
Probably the perspective stuff would work better, yeah. But she definitely her face
God,
like
that'd be so good.
they could frame her face with like the hair in a way that would make it work.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, there you have it. I ship it. Henry Cavill as Garrus Vakarian and Brie Larson as Lady Dimitrescu.
I would
That's-
pay for whatever thing that involved that. So
Look forward to an anime, a Mass Effect anime from Netflix, because that's what they call all their animated series.
I want it to be
It's an
if they're gonna adapt I actually would be kind of excited for a Mass Effect adaptation
Maybe
because I think it would
live
fit
action.
TV really well, but it needs to be live action.
It should be. Yes,
Yeah.
it should be live action.
yeah,
God, that would be so good.
It would be really good if they got a really good cast to play those characters and do a
Who-
live
who-
action. Oh, it'd be
And
good.
some good
Who do they have
writers to work
who
on
do
it.
They have as Shepherd.
So that was that's the danger, right? It's gotta be FemShep. I mean,
Chris
I mean,
Pratt.
yeah. Like
No,
they've
don't
got
Chris
fucking
Pratt
fuck
as
off.
FemShep.
Fuck
oh God,
off.
fuck that. No.
That
Oh,
makes me
God.
so mad.
That's like the worst. That's like up there as worst case
No,
scenario.
actually, Brie Larson as FemShep is what I
Yeah.
want.
She would be a good femshep.
That would
She
make
could
the
do
right
it.
people mad.
Yes, she would be
That would be
really
very
good.
good.
Her or never mind. Keep. I have someone in mind, but I can't.
Who?
their name is
What
escaping me.
what has she done?
Well,
She's smaller than a bread box.
God, no, I'm not gonna get it. I'm
Okay,
really
well-
reaching here. I have like, never mind.
Okay. Well, next up, Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2 has been delayed out of 2021. Hardsuit Labs, the developer, has been pulled from the project, and a new developer has been put on it, but we don't know who yet. And we don't know like the when or like what is going to remain of the game that has been shown or anything like that. So yeah,
That game's looked really troubled to me pretty much all along. So, yeah, no. Also, it's not who I was thinking of, but it also just occurred to me. Angela Bassett would be a really cool femshep.
Oh.
she doesn't. She skews older. Like,
yes, but I think it would work.
And I don't.
Yeah,
I
I
don't see
don't
an
think
issue
that's a
with that.
problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that
Yeah.
could work.
Yeah. Oh, geez, 62. Wow, she doesn't look it.
No.
No, I saw that. I was like, dang, okay.
Yeah. I thought of I don't know her name. The woman who plays Jury in Black Panther. Shuri.
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 Yeah.
She's had Twitter mishaps lately.
Oh.
Yeah, unfortunately. There was some vaccine related.
Yeah,
Right?
like
That was what it was?
anti-vaxxing
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah,
Oh,
there was
boy.
also like, if I recall correctly, like other
Also,
stuff too.
Regina King kicks ass in Watchmen and could be a
Regina
kick-ass
King is like,
femshep too. Anyway.
oh my god, like honestly, I'm like give Regina King anything.
Yeah.
So like, yes. and her feature directorial debut was One Night in Miami, which was fucking great. And I was like,
I gotta watch
how
that still.
how is and it, but it was like, it's like, this is your directorial feature directorial debut, and it's this great. What?
Yeah.
So, anyways,
I just remembered that Ben Pack posted his Mass
Oh my
Effect
God, that was
casting,
so
and
funny.
It was just basically the cast of Grown Ups.
Yes. Who did he have as Garrus?
I don't.
It's like Ben Stiller or
was it-
something.
No, Garrus. Was it Paul Blart?
Maybe, but yeah, it might have been Kevin James.
I don't remember. But
Paul Blart, just put him in Mass Effect. I don't know.
Is Seth Green Joker in whatever
No,
adaptation they do?
It was Chris Rock.
Chris Rock. Garrus.
Terry Crews
okay.
is the elusive man. Or no, sorry, it was Shaq is the elusive man. I was thinking Terry Crews was
Oh.
Shaq. It was Shaq. Even better.
just going up to the elusive man.
Let me find it. I
DJ
gotta find it now.
DJ
Shaq.
Shaq is the elusive man.
Okay. Also,
God.
it was Kevin James's Rex. That's what it was.
Oh,
yeah.
okay. I'd watch it.
Rex, Mall Cop, Paul Rex Blart.
But he still had Seth Green as Joker.
But do we think Seth Green will be Joker if they did a live action?
I don't think so.
I could
animated?
see.
I could
No?
see it. I think
don't
I think they
know.
could, but I don't know. I think it makes more sense to just
Because
recast it.
he just is Joker. Okay. Oh yeah, so Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2, maybe that game's never coming out. Maybe it will. I don't know.
We'll see.
I would like to play it, but I guess I'll play the first one instead.
I'd like to play it if it's
Does-
good. The first one's good. You can play it now.
Does the first one hold up, would you
Yes,
say?
absolutely.
Okay,
I think so.
Because I saw it, because it's on my Steam wish list, and I saw it come up on sale. So I
There's
was
a
like,
patch that
"Ooh,
fixes the biggest
should
issue
I
with
buy that maybe?
that game. They had to stop working on it after they put out the first patch, and there were still some bugs they needed to fix. So for a long time, it was still kind of messy, but now it's fixed totally because they have there's like a fan patch that solves all the problems. That's very easy to get. There's like guides for it in the Steam forums. That game holds up great. It's the RPG systems are a little like they're aged, but they're not. It still is a really great game to play and really fun if you like stuff like Dishonored and stuff like that.
And it's
our
currently
last.
$10 on Steam.
All right, we got two news stories here. I don't know who put Noja. What is Noja?
I love that. That's like my most hyped up game, and it's almost out.
Okay, Noja is coming to Switch next week. I don't know what is this a visual novel? What is this?
It's like the visual novel that's like kind of like a Werewolf Among Us type thing,
okay.
but it's like
I think-
single player, and there's a procedural generation aspect of it, but also story. And it was already released in Japan, and it was like a cult hit
Okay.
and
It
really
sounds-
well received. And
Sounds really cool as someone who doesn't usually like visual novels because it has these kind of like proc gen like or randomly generated outcomes that it
Yeah.
sounds like you're actually like trying to solve a mystery, I guess.
that's what it seems like.
Which sounds
is
cool.
that it is. So I am like, that is honestly like has been my most hyped game since I saw that show up in the whichever direct they had it in. So
Yeah, but-
I'm
okay. Yeah.
So I'm like, I was looking it up because I was like, is there any updates on Nocia? And I'm like, oh, it's coming out next week. So I have to book my way through Persona 5 Strikers so I can play that.
And our last news story, somehow we get to sneak in Daft Punk into as they break up, because apparently there was a Daft Punk version of Luminous in the works, but then Daft Punk were too busy to work on the soundtrack for it, so it never got made. But you have to wonder, what were they doing?
Yeah, I think it's too bad, but also there's so many really good rhythm games where you can get custom maps now that you could play a Daft Punk rhythm game in a lot of different games. So
Sure, yeah, but like a custom, like,
It'd be
fully
cool
made,
if-
new music from Daft Punk, which hasn't happened in a while.
Oh well,
and won't ever again.
And now
or at
it
least,
won't anymore.
Yeah.
Ooh.
I get it. I don't know. I was listening to Random Access Memories the other day, and it just is like They could never have topped that album, I don't think. So
Mhm.
I get it. Go out on that, and
Just yeah, it's a interesting thing to hear. Like, oh, that was almost another Luminous game, but they were too busy to work on it. That's just silly,
Yeah.
but neat. And that is gonna do it for this episode. We made it. The three of us, we made
Yep.
it somehow.
Yeah.
I'm Cyndaquil. Pat, you're Rowlet. Allison, you're the other one. I don't remember what the other one is.
Oh.
I'm sorry.
I
It
don't
says
wanna
more
be
about
the
the
other
Pokemon
isn't
one.
than
the
it
other
says-
one Chikorita?
No.
No, it's
Not,
Oshawott.
no,
Oh.
not in. Yeah, it's Oshawott.
And
There
it's
we
like
go.
I like
I don't
Oshawott,
know.
but I just don't want to be
I-
the other one.
I'm Allison. It's not you. It's Oshawott. it's not your fault.
Oshawott's a good Pokemon.
I wanna be
though. It's
Chikorita.
cute. Oh,
I
I,
mean,
love
well,
Chikorita's my favorite.
too bad Chikorita didn't exist in the time of
What generation was
Pokemon Legends
Chikorita from?
Arceus.
Oh.
You have to wait until the Pokemon and the humans marry and then procreate and create a Chikorita.
I'm uncomfortable now.
Okay, like we should just kind of call it now.
That's going to do it for episode 161 of the Gaming Fix podcast on February 27th, 2021. I am your host, Andre Cole, aka your partner's favorite novelty Twitter account. You can find me on Twitter at Coolslaw, COOLSL4W. I'm going to have a review, hopefully, of Demon Souls going up this week. Sam at SGCH on Twitter said he's working on a review of East 9. You can check that out at fix.space. Allison, where can people find you?
You can find me on Twitter at WRITERSERENYTY.
And Pat?
You can find me at PJC Plays.
Thanks to Jeff Davis for our intro, or just our music in general. It's intro and outro. And that's going to do it. Thanks for joining me. We'll be back next week with another episode. Send us an email. Gaming@fix.space.
Please do. Yeah.
We'll you send enough emails. Sam has to answer questions.
Mm-hmm.
Sam Sirs. Anyways,
Goodbye.
bye.
Goodbye. Hi, baby. Hi, baby girl. Hi, baby girl. You wanna go outside? Do you wanna go outside, baby? Go potty. Yeah. Yeah, let's take a potty. Come on. Get your harness on. Mocha. Mocha, come on. Come on. sniff and play and run around. And melt the fuck down. Yeah, you're a good girl. You just gotta... You can't get so worked up about other dogs.